Hey everybody! Thanks for waiting on me today. Having a little bit of an internet outage, shortage situation here in the city. Apparently it is not just us, so that's good to know. But it's working now. Hi, honey. I like seeing all of the Mimis in the chat. She's just back here. So, I'm very excited. We're going to be moving on to part 2 today. I was not able to get Jackie to come back to talk with us because it is just so, 1, short notice, and 2, close to the last time she was on. It's probably better we wait a bit. Have a little bit of a break between our Jackies and our Lexis. It's the kind of thing where like Jackie coordinates and she gets Lexi on for me. So it was like it's all good though. All good. We will get started on part 2, and it is a big, thick ol' part. Part 2 is thick. So we can probably stop partway through and do a little jam sesh. But yeah, I'm really excited for today to get moving. Ugh, got so many windows open. I'm trying a new layout on my computer and it's very distracting. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna get started on chapter 10. Before we do that, I do just want to plug, because we are officially 1 month out from the Nashville trip. For anybody that is still interested in participating and has not yet, or anybody who's watching after the fact, we are still fundraising for the Nashville trip right up here. Your major incentive is $25 or more, and you will get a signed pinup photo of myself. An example selection of my catalog is available at dottiechampagne.ca. If you want to take a look, there's also always my Instagram. You get your choice signed, mailed off to you. You'll also get like a nice little thank you note, especially if you're one of my regulars. Hey, cat's getting me. Yeah, especially if you're somebody who I know and who's in chat and who's active and who's like around. I will make sure to write you a special little note and send it off with a lot of love. So yeah, $25 or more. It's really appreciated. The link is popping up in chat right now. Or nope, it's not. No, it's not, because my key froze. There it is. Okay, perfect. All right, and exciting news for me personally. Streamlabs has officially recognized me as being a real human being and not a scammer, and therefore, Mimi wants to go up. You can pay with credit cards now directly and not just PayPal, which makes it easier for some people. Hello, Mimi. She just wants everybody to know she is here. You can also always follow. Thank you, Katrisha. I know, I'm so glad I'm a real human. It happens more often than you would think that organizations and individuals think that I'm not a real person, which is bizarre. I think I've told people in chat before there was like a very brief, kind of desperate period during yes, human status achieved. Brief period, especially during lockdown at some point, when I was like, I'll just sign up for OnlyFans. I don't have to do everything. I'm sure I'll find some way to create some sort of content on there. And I tried to sign up, and they were like, we're not sure that you're real. We think you may be a bot. Because my photos are just that good, folks. They think that I stole them. They think they're not real. They think they're like a purchased, like, sexy photo that I was trying to pass off. So that's why you should donate $25 or more to get a printed one, because they're just that good that OnlyFans thought they were fake. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, people also, when I get phone calls on like at work and stuff. They'd be like, "Oh, we thought you were a robot." I'm like, "Not a robot. I am real. I am saying these things to you right now as a person." So, yep. I've had people yell like "agent" at me before because they think I'm the automated voice system. Oh, Mimi. Yes, she just wants to snuggle. Yep, it's super weird. You know, tis what it is. I also don't talk like a real person, I guess, when I'm on the phone. If I answer the phone at work, it's like, "Hello, this is Elena speaking. How can I help you?" Because I go into my work robot voice, apparently. "I'm being licked by this dog. Why are you licking me so much?" But yeah, I was cold when I sat down here, so I put my sweater on. I was like, it's okay, I'll just wear my sweater. Now I'm kind of sweaty. So that's fun. That's okay. Be cozy. I'll be cozy today. So yeah, but like I said, donations as we approach the time, it's extra appreciated, you know, just because I'm organizing so many things at this point. I'm putting so much work into this trip. I really want to be able to afford to enjoy it and put as much into this as I can. So if I get donations, the more exciting things can be. I'm working on a new act that I'm hoping will be performed at the Friday night show, which there's a very good chance is happening because I've got more venue stuff that I got to send off to Jackie and Holden. Very good chance that's going on. But I need to buy more rhinestones and more fringe. So anyway, I'm also, as always, if you guys really want to kill me, if you want to just like absolutely destroy me, I will do extra shots for money. We are currently only doing shots when they say mate, which has gone down. It's not nothing. It's not 0 shots, but there are fewer than that one night in particular. So if especially we notice that it's just not happening, if you want things to get freaky, I will take shots, and I won't take little wimpy ones. If you guys donate for them, I'm going to say $10 because I'm already taking shots, but I will do an extra shot for $10. And I'll take like a regular pour, like an ounce or something, roughly. I'll guess at it because I don't have my measuring thing, but I will do it. It'll be real. And not the little wimpy ones I take when we say mate because I am a chicken. Promise. When there's cash on the line, I'll do it for real. Been working so much lately, so I finally got around to looking at my fit last night and got way too stressed. I wish I could grab my boots. They're a little too far away for me to grab them and show you, but I found the rhinestones that were the right color for I've got blue details on my brown cowboy boots, and I'm stoning around, but they're kind of cheap stones because they're like a stash that I paid very little for that I got like on discount, and I got a big bulk order of them, and they just ended up not being that good. But I was like, okay, well, if I'm putting a lot of them on boots, and they'll probably fall off of the boots because shoes, they tend not to cling anyway. Generally, they tend to fall off because you like scuff them on the floor and stuff. You're stomping them, whatever. So I was like, okay, so then if they fall off, I can replace them more easily, and eventually I'll replace them with better stones, maybe. But yeah, I wish I had nicer sparkles. Thing gets me in the middle of moving, and I really don't think I'll have to move together fit on par with the rest of the jackpack. I highly doubt that, Kadrisha. I think that you will find a great outfit to put together. I think it'll happen for you. I am still working on it, and I keep going like, I don't know if I'm gonna have the time or if I'm gonna find the right thing, but it's also 'tis the season for Western wear. Apparently, it's very in right now, so If we all just end up buying cheap trash off the internet, which, come on, let's do it. I love cheap trash. If we buy cheap Western trash and we'll all show up in like gaudy, awful, cheap Western trash that after we wear it, we just burn it in a pit. Cool. And we'll all die from the cancer that we get from the burning rayon and whatever. And it'll be great. So yeah, let's get started on part 2 of the book. It is, so it's not chapter 10, it's chapter 11. Where are ya? Where are ya, tracker? There you are. Chapter 11. So let's all try to remember where we were right before this. So, Feyre fucked up Ianthe, like, bad. Not bad enough, in my opinion, but still bad. She just ruined that woman's hand and gave her a lifelong anxiety disorder, which, speaking as somebody who has an anxiety disorder, is not fun, and I would not wish that on anyone. Except for Ianthe, who is, actively committing assault. So that's cool. She can do that. That's fine. So yeah, she fucked her up. And then those terrible royal twins who we hate and are awful and bad, came out and tried to. Oh, by the way, she was trying to commit sexual assault on Lucien, which is what Feyre stopped. So thank God. They did that, stopped the assault. Those terrible twins came out of the woods. They got in like a mind fight, some sort of fight, during which they revealed, we'll be cute, but maybe less fancy. That's okay. You know what? We don't have to be fancy. But yeah, so they revealed that they had been dosing everyone with that rock that blocks powers, that is like Hybern's main resource in this whole war situation. So yeah, they've been dosing everybody with this blue rock. Feyre especially, who they had like given her an extra hit from an apple she ate, so her powers are like tanked. Look some stuff up after supper. Yeah, good idea. But yeah, Feyre's powers are like totally tanked out. And Lucien doesn't really have anything either. But Feyre has essentially decided now is the time, and she has broken away from the Spring Court. She's trying to get back to the Night Court. Lucien has come with her now. And has decided he's sticking with her, probably mainly to get Elaine back, but that's fair. They are mates. And so, but they don't really know how to get back there from the Spring Court, and they can't winnow, and she doesn't want to risk having anybody from the Night Court come to her where they are, so they are. And they only have 2 paths ahead of them. It's either go under the mountain again, which is all blocked off and weird, and they don't think they would ever get out, or to go to the Autumn Court, where it's dangerous because Lucien's family is not cool. They bad. Also, we found out that apparently Lucien fucks, which I never doubted, but the men of the Autumn Court have fire in their blood. So Lucien fucks. He can get it. I'm into that. I'm into that. That would be great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. So yeah, I'm curious about what's gonna happen now that they're in the Autumn Court, and once they're in the Autumn Court, where do they go from there? And how long does it take them to get back to the Night Court? And once they get there, what happens? And we need to get her back to Reese because he's sending her horny mind pictures. We're all very excited about that, for sure. I know we are. Everyone's excited. Horny mind pictures. But I need scenes from other characters' perspectives to illuminate some relationships outside of Feyre and Brisand. Please, thank you. Because I know there's fan fiction, but it's probably not as good. You know, I'll want the canon stuff. So yeah, let's turn this music down just a little bit so you guys can definitely hear the story. And we are getting started on chapter 11. The cold was what hit me first. Brisk, crisp cold, laced with loam and rotting things. In the twilight, the world beyond the narrow cave mouth was a latticework of red and gold and brown and green, the trees thick and old, the mossy ground strewn with rocks and boulders that cast long shadows. We emerged, blades out, barely breathing beyond a trickle of air. But there were no Autumn Court sentries guarding the entrance to Baron's realm. None that we could see or scent. Without my magic, I was blind again, unable to sweep a net of awareness through the ancient vibrant trees to catch any traces of nearby Fey mines. Utterly helpless. That's how I'd been before. How I'd survived so long without it, I didn't want to consider. We crept on cat-soft feet into the moss and stone and wood, our breath curling in front of us. Keep moving. Keep striding north. Reese would have realized by now that our bond had gone dark, was likely trying to glean whether I had planned for that, whether it was worth the risk of revealing our scheme to find me. But until he did, until they could hear me, find me, I had to keep moving. So I let Lucian lead the way, wishing I'd at least been able to shift my eyes to something that could pierce the darkening wood. But my magic was still and frozen, a crutch I'd become too reliant upon. We picked our way through the forest, the chill deepening with each vanishing shaft of sunlight. We hadn't spoken since we'd entered that cave between courts. From the stiffness of his shoulders, the hard angle of his jaw as he moved on silent, sturdy feet, I knew only our need for stealth kept his simmering questions at bay. Night was fully overhead, the moon not yet risen, when he led us into another cave. I balked at the entrance. Lucian merely said, voice flat and as icy as the air, "It doesn't lead anywhere. It curves away in the back. It'll keep us out of sight." I let him go inside first, nonetheless. Every limb and movement turned sluggish, aching. But I trailed him into the cave and around the bend he'd indicated. Flint struck, and I found myself gazing at a makeshift camp of sorts. The candle Lucian had ignited sat on a natural stone ledge, and on the floor nearby lay 3 bedrolls and old blankets, crusted with leaves and cobwebs. A little fire pit lay in the sloped center of the space, the ceiling above it charred. No one had been here in months, years. "I used to stay here while hunting, before I left." Okay, wait a sec. So this is like Lucian's, little cave fort from when he was a boy. His little clubhouse, Lucian's little clubhouse. And you're telling me he just left bedrolls out there, and they're all covered in leaves and shit. There's not like an animal living in that? There's an animal living in that. Like, you don't leave bedding outside, because if you leave bedding outside, speaking from experience as someone who had a treehouse in their backyard and left bedding outside a lot, it will rot, and something will live in it, and you will have to call the city to come and remove the possums from your treehouse. Right, Mimi? Or you can just remove the possums. She says she would do it. I guess Pippa could be enchanted. Just they put a no animal make a bed in this. They put a no nesting spell on it. But still, okay, so ignoring that fact, cute, Lucian's got like a little clubhouse. Is there a sign hanging up at the back that says like, no girls allowed? Baron's boys only? Cute. Okay, before I left, he said, examining a dusty, leather-bound book left on the stone ledge beside the candle. He set the tome down with a thump. It's just for the night. We'll find something to eat in the morning. I only lifted the closest bedroll and smacked it a few times, leaves and clouds of dust flying off before I laid it upon the ground. You truly planned this, he said at last. I sat on the bedroll and began sorting through my pack, hauling out the warmer clothes, food, and supplies Alice herself had placed within. Yes. That's all you have to say? I sniffed at the food, wondering what was laced with Faebane. It could be in everything. It's too risky to eat, I admitted, evading his question. Lucian was having none of it. I knew you were lying the moment you unleashed that light in Highburn. My friend at the Dawn Court has the same power. Her light is identical, and it does not do whatever horseshit you lied about it doing. I shoved my pack off my bedroll. Then why not tell him? You were his faithful dog in every other sense. His eyes seemed to simmer, as if being in his own lands set that molten ore inside him rising to the surface, even with the damper on his power. Glad to see the mask is off, at least. Indeed, I let him see it all. Didn't alter or shape my face into anything but coldness. Lucian snorted. He snorted. I didn't tell him for 2 reasons. 1, it felt like kicking a male already down. I couldn't take that hope away from him. I rolled my eyes. 2, he snapped. I knew if I was correct and called you on it, you'd find a way to make sure I never saw her. My nails dug into my palms hard enough to hurt, but I remained seated on the bedroll as I bared my teeth at him. And that's why you're here. Not because it's right, and he's always been wrong, but just so you can get what you think you're owed. She is my mate, and in my enemy's hands. Right off the bat, eh? Doing this to me on page 2, are you, Lucian? Come on. Mate! I usually try to chill this before, and I did not today. And that was a bad idea. Bye. She's like, I don't want no part of this. I don't want no part of this. I've made no secret from the start that Elaine is safe and cared for. And I'm supposed to believe you? Yes, I hissed. You are. Because if I believed for one moment that my sisters were in danger, no High Lord or King would have kept me from going to save them. He just shook his head, the candlelight dancing over his hair. Ooh.
You have the gall to question my priorities regarding Elaine. Yet, what was your motive where I was concerned? Did you plan to spare me from your path of destruction because of any genuine friendship? Or simply for fear of what it might do to her?
I didn't answer.
Well, what was your grand plan for me before Ianthe interfered?
I pulled at a stray thread in the bedroll. You would have been fine, was all I said.
And what about Tamlin? Did you plan to disembowel him before you left and simply not get the chance?
I ripped the loose thread right out of the bedroll. I debated it.
But
I think letting his court collapse around him is a better punishment. Certainly longer than an easy death. I slung off Tamlin's bandolier of knives, leather scraping against the rough stone floor. You're his emissary. Surely you realize that slitting his throat, however satisfying, wouldn't win us many allies in this war? No, it'd give Hybern too many openings to undermine us. He crossed his arms, digging in for a good long fight. Before he could do just that, I cut in. I'm tired, and our voices echo. Let's have it out when it's not likely to get us caught and killed. His gaze was a brand. But I ignored it as I nestled down on the bedroll, the material reeking of dust and rot. I pulled my cloak over me, but didn't close my eyes. I didn't dare sleep. Not when he might very well change his mind. Yet just lying down, not moving, not thinking, some of the tightness in my body eased. Lucian blew out the candle and I listened to the sounds of him settling down as well.
My father will hunt you for taking his power if he finds out,
he said into the frigid dark.
And kill you for learning how to wield it.
He can get in line, was all I said. Everybody want to kill Feyre. Like, what did they think would happen? They gave her some power, and now they're pissed that she has it? Guys, you knew it would bring her back to life. You didn't think for like 2 seconds? Thought you were supposed to be like ancient kings or something. What the fuck? Idiots. Fucking men. Fucking men with power, eh? Just dumb and don't want to give any of it up. Ugh. Right, K-Trisha, Reese. Right, Reese made them do it with his mind powers. I forgot. But still, like, they did it. So, like, you would think they would already be after her if they realized once Reese released them that, oh, I gave her power, shit. Anyways, I'm sure I'm thinking about this incorrectly, but I'm just like, y'all should have known. Y'all should have known what was up, and you should either already be gunning for her, or you've accepted it and you're ready to move on. Like, there should be no question. It's like either they're already gonna come and kill her right now, and they should have tried to murder her, like, before she even got better, or like, you know, whatever. Whatever. I think I just want to think they're all dumb. I don't know. My exhaustion was a blanket over my senses as grey light strained the cave walls. I'd spent most of the night shivering, jolting at every snap and sound in the forest outside, keenly aware of Lucian's movements on his bedroll. From his own haggard face, he sat up. I knew he hadn't slept either, perhaps wondering if I'd abandoned him, or if his family would find us first. Or mine. We took each other's measure.
What now?
He rasped, scrubbing a broad hand over his face. Reese had not come. I had not heard a whisper of him down the bond. I felt for my magic, but only ashes greeted me. We head north, I said, until the Faebane is out of our systems and we can winnow. Or I could contact Reese and the others.
My father's court lies due northward. We'll have to go to the east or west to avoid it.
No, east takes us too close to the summer court border, and I won't lose time by going too far west. We go straight north.
My father's sentries will easily spot us.
Then we'll have to remain unseen, I said, rising. I dumped the last of the contaminated food from my pack. Let the scavengers have it. Walking through the woods of the autumn court felt like striding inside a jewel box. Even with all that potentially hunted us now, the colors were so vivid it was an effort not to gawk and gape. By mid-morning, the rime had melted away under the buttery sun to reveal what was suitable for eating. My stomach growled with every step, and Lucian's red hair gleamed like the leaves above us as he scanned the woods for anything to fill our bellies. His woods, by blood and law. He was a son of this forest, and here, he looked crafted from it, for it, even that golden eye. Golden eye, don't number. Worst James Bond song, probably. Not because it's necessarily a bad song, just because it makes no fucking sense. Anybody else understand that or care about that? No? It was written by Bono. Without even knowing anything about the script for the film or the book. Which the film is not based on. James Bond's a mess. For many reasons. Anyway, sorry. My partner really likes the James Bond music. Just the music. Because it's silly, and occasionally we will just like scream "Golden Eye" at each other because it's so bad. Lucian eventually stopped at a jade stream wending through a granite-flanked gully, a spot he claimed had once been rich with trout. I was in the process of constructing a rudimentary fishing pole when he waded into the stream, boots off and pants rolled to his knees, and caught one with his bare hands. Oh, God, he caught a fish like a bear! He caught a fish like a bear! He waded into the stream and caught one with his bare hands. He tied up his hair, a few strands of it falling into his face as he swooped down again and threw a second trout onto the sandy bank, where I'd been trying to find a substitute for fishing twine. He noodling. I didn't know you could noodle a trout, but he noodling. There's something hot about that. Man fishing with his hands. We remained silent as the fish eventually stopped flapping, their sides catching and gleaming with all the colors so bright above us. Lucian picked them up by their tails, as if he'd done it 1,000 times. He might very well have, right here in this stream.
I'll clean them while you start the fire.
In the daylight, the glow of the flames wouldn't be noticed. Though the smoke, a necessary risk. Right, Maserati? Hachi-machi. Man, fishing with his hands. I don't know what it is. That sounds hot. He worked and ate in silence, the crackling fire offering the only conversation. We hiked north for 5 days, hardly exchanging a word. Baron's seat was so vast it took us 3 days to enter, pass through, and clear it. Lucian led us through the outskirts, tense at every call and rustle. The forest house is capitalized, was a sprawling complex, Lucian informed me during the few times we risked or bothered to speak to each other. It had been built in and around the trees and rocks, and only its uppermost levels were visible above the ground. Below, it tunneled a few levels into the stone, but its sprawl generated its size. You might walk from one end of the house to the other, and it will take you half the morning. There were layers and circles of sentries, ringing it. In the trees, on the ground, atop the moss-coated shingles and stones of the house itself. No enemies approached Baron's home without his knowledge. None left without his permission. You can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave! Welcome to the autumn court. I guess that doesn't work. Never mind. Never mind. Whew. I knew we'd passed beyond Lucian's known map of their portal routes and stations when his shoulders sagged. Mine were slumped already. I had barely slept, only letting myself do so when Lucian's breathing slid into a different, deeper rhythm. I knew I couldn't keep it up for long, but without the ability to shield, to sense any danger. I wondered if Reese was looking for me, if he'd felt the silence. I should have gotten a message out, told him I was going and how to find me. Faebane. That was why the bond had sounded so muffled. Perhaps I should have killed Ianthe outright. But what was done was done. I was rubbing at my aching eyes, taking a moment's rest beneath our new bounty, an apple tree laden with fat, succulent fruit. I'd filled my bag with what I could fit inside. 2 cores already lay discarded beside me, the sweet, rotting scent as lulling as the droning of the bees, gorging themselves on fallen apples. A 3rd apple was already primed and poised for eating atop my outstretched legs. After what the Highburn Royals had done, I should have sworn off apples forever, but hunger had always blurred lines for me. Would you eat a person, Feyre? Would it blur that line? Would you be a cannibal if you were hungry enough? Why did I go there? I don't know. Am I irreparably damaged? Yes. Lucian, sitting a few feet away, chucked his 4th apple into the bushes as I bit into mine.
The farmlands and fields are near,
He announced.
We'll have to stay out of sight. My father doesn't pay well for his crops, and the land workers will earn any extra coin they can.
It's like, basically, my dad is a dick, so we can easily get the people to betray him. No problem. Super easy. The common folk will take anything, so. Even selling out the location of one of the High Lord's sons? Oh, never mind. I misunderstood. So they aren't going to bribe people with money. They are staying away because they would easily sell them out for money. I went the positive way, the eat the rich way, and they went the people are dicks way. So basically everyone is an ass, and no one will do the right thing. Okay, cool, great, awesome. Even selling at the location of one of the High Lord's sons?
Especially that way.
They didn't like you. His jaw tightened. Favorite people eater, yeah. His jaw tightened.
As the youngest of 7 sons, I wasn't particularly needed or wanted. Perhaps it was a good thing. I was able to study for longer than my father allowed my brothers before shoving them out the door to rule over some territory within our lands. And I could train for as long as I liked, since no one believed I'd be dumb enough to kill my way up the long list of heirs. And when I grew bored with studying and fighting, I learned what I could of the land from its people. Learned about the people, too.
Oh, so basically you were making yourself a perfect king? So, like, how do you think all of his other brothers are gonna die? Because that's what we're ratcheting up to now. is just a prediction, but I have a feeling his brother's gonna die, and then his bad daddy's gonna die, and then Lucian's gonna be the High Lord of the Autumn Court, and he's gonna turn it all around, or attempt to, and then that's gonna be the next piece. So then we'll have the Night Court being great, and we'll have the Summer Court. I think we can turn them around. I think we'll be okay, and then we would have the Autumn Court. So that's 3 courts potentially on the right side. But anyway. He eased to his feet with a groan, his unbound hair glimmering as the midday sun overhead set the blood and wine hues aglow. Ooh. I'd say that sounds more High Lord-like than the life of an idle, unwanted son. Right, Feyre's hearing it. A long, steely look.
Did you think it was mere hatred that prompted my brothers to do their best to break and kill me?
Oh, so his brothers knew too. They were like, "You're better than us, fuck you! Quit being so good! Quit being good at shit!" Despite myself, a shudder rippled down my spine. I finished off the apple and uncoiled to my feet, plucking another off a low-hanging branch. Would you want it? Your father's crown?
No one's ever asked me that.
No one's ever asked you that. How long you been alive? No one's ever said, "Hey, Prince, you want to be king?" People have asked me if I want to be king. And I'm not even in line. People talk about this, Lucian. Someone's asked you that at some point, come on. Lucian mused as we moved on, dodging fallen, rotting apples. The air was sticky sweet.
The bloodshed that would be required to earn that crown wouldn't be worth it. Neither would its festering court. I'd gain a crown only to rule over a crafty, two-faced people.
Lord of Foxes. Lord of Foxes! Oh! They're my favorite. Oh, I would love that. What if Baron was the 7th son? Lucian would be the 7th son of a 7th son. Fucking metal. But no, mind blown. Okay, Trisha, say your spoilery thing. I'ma pause and let you say your spoilery thing. Because that's okay. I'm open to it. Open to the spoilery thing. Oh, he's the Lord of Foxes. Lucian and Elaine's story doesn't get resolved, and it's kind of frustrating. Oh! That's interesting. Especially now remembering all these breadcrumbs that got left. Oh, well, hey, Trisha, she not done writing these books. It's not over. The latest one, yes, it was from Nesta's point of view, but I think that's just her starting to branch out. Right? Yeah, so maybe there's going to be a book from Elaine's POV or something, right? And if there is, I would like that. Hoping that potentially, it's okay. I am Elena. That's my muggle name. So I was struggling to not read it. Because Elaine wants Azriel. Yeah. Yeah, I would be, I'd be down to read the chapters with Azriel. I'd be down to read chapters with Lucian. I'd be down if they came to an arrangement. Said it before, and I've said it again. I am fine find any way that wants to work itself out, so that everybody can fuck. Everybody should fuck. All of them should do it. I can have the Lord of Foxes. I can have him. Honestly, yes. Yes. Thank you. I'll take him. He's mine. My partner can share. He'll be okay. Make him be okay with it. Just make him be okay with it. Be fine. It would be fine with me. Then I could be Lady of Foxes. Oh, my life would be complete. Anyway, Lord of Foxes, I said, snorting as I remembered that mask he'd once worn. Yeah, Elaine seems kind of boring, TBH, but we also don't know a lot about her. She seems to be quite quiet. So maybe she's more interesting, especially now that she's Fae, and potentially she has powers. We don't know what the Cauldron did to them yet, so... And hey, you know what? Feyre changed a fucking lot, right? So, who knows what they're like now? Nesta's probably even more like, fuck you. She's such a bad bitch. Nesta's a baddie, I'm into it. Anyway. But you never answer my question about why the people here would sell you out. The air ahead lightened, and a golden field of barley undulated toward a distant tree line. You get a High Lord, and you get a High Lord! Yes, Jade Egg Flower Power. Which I'm also into. And yeah, Nesta is a baddie. Yeah. In looks and in tude, Nesta is a baddie. Love it. The air had lightened, and a golden field of barley undulated toward a distant tree line.
After Jasminda, they would.
Jasminda. He'd never spoken her name. Lucian slid between the swaying, bobbing stalks.
She was one of them.
The words were barely audible over the singing, sighing barley.
And when I didn't protect her, it was a betrayal of their trust, too. I ran to some of their houses while fleeing my brothers. They turned me out for what I let happen to her.
Waves of gold and ivory rolled around us. Sky a crisp, unmarred blue.
I can't blame them for it,
he said. Lucian. His girlfriend died. And he feels so bad. Oh. Poor guy. Brothers suck. Fuck those guys. Because I'm sure they're hot too. But Jesus Christ, they have to ruin everything? Quit being dicks. Everybody sucks. Anyway, we cleared the fertile valley by the late afternoon. When Lucian offered to stop for the night, I insisted we keep going, right into the steep foothills that leaped into gray, snow-capped mountains that marked the start of the shared range with the Winter Court. If we could get over the border in a day or two, perhaps my powers would have returned enough to contact Rhys, or Winnow the rest of the way home. The hike wasn't an easy one. Great, craggy boulders made up the ascent, flecked with moss and long white grasses that hissed like adders. The wind ripped at our hair, the temperature dropping the higher we climbed. Tonight, we might have to risk a fire tonight, just to stay alive. Lucian was panting as we scaled a hulking boulder, the valley sprawling away behind, the wood and tangled river of color beyond it. There had to be a pass into the range at some point, out of sight.
How are you not winded?
He panted, hauling himself onto the flat top. I shoved back the hair that had torn free of my braid to whip my face. I trained. Yeah, girl works out, okay?
I gathered that much after you took on Dagden and walked away from it.
I had the element of surprise on my side.
No,
Lucian said quietly as I reached for a foothold in the next boulder.
that was all you.
My nails barked as I dug my fingers into the rock and heaved myself up. I hate that feeling. Lucian added,
You had my back.
with Ianthe.
Thank you.
Oh, he's coming round. The words hit something low in my gut, and I was glad for the wind that kept roaring around us. If only to hide the burning in my eyes. Oh, they are friends. They're best friends. They're besties, for sure. Like, I am certain that on some, like, mystical level, because her sister is his mate, they also have some sort of, like, familial bond going on. Same as, like, her and Moore, right? I bet there's something going on there. I slept, finally. Burning in my rectum. Thank you, Jade Egg. Thank you for that, I guess. Ew. It's okay. It's okay. It's allowed. It's allowed. It's gross, but it's allowed. I slept, finally. With the crackling fire in our latest cave, the heat and the relative remoteness were enough to finally drag me under. And in my dreams, I think I swam through Lucian's mind, as if some small ember of my power was at last returning. I dreamed of our cozy fire and the craggy walls, the entire space barely big enough. I guess on the left deep cut. And in my dreams, I think I swam through Lucian's mind. I dreamed of our cozy fire and the craggy walls, the entire space barely big enough to fit us and the fire. Ugh, you gonna catch on fire, girl. I dreamed of the howling dark night beyond, of all the sounds that Lucian so carefully sorted through while he kept watch. His attention slid to me at one point and lingered. I had never known how young, how human I looked when I slept. Yeah, 'cause you were a baby when you died. Girl, you're like 20. My braid was a rope over my shoulder, my mouth slightly parted, my face haggard with days of little rest and food. I dreamed that he removed his cloak and added it over my blanket. Then I ebbed away, flowing out of his head as my dreams shifted and sailed elsewhere. I let a sea of stars rock me into sleep. Yes, Queen, hey! A hand gripped my face so hard the groaning of my bones jolted me awake. Look who we found, a cold male voice drawled. I knew that face. The red hair, the pale skin, the smirk. Knew the faces of the other two males in the cave, a snarling Lucian pinned beneath them. His brothers. Fuck! These pieces of shit! They were almost out! God damn it! God damn it! Oof. So mad. So mad at these guys. These guys! Can they not be assholes for 2 seconds, please? Like, why you gotta be dicks? What do you want, man? Okay. How about this? This is a good time to utilize my resources. Okay, Trisha. Specifically you, because I know you read these. How much are the brothers around? Do I need to give them good voices, or can I fuck this shit up? Because when I don't ask you, I do a John Wayne impression for somebody that talks a fucking lot. So the oldest one is around a lot. Okay. Eris, question mark? Okay. All right. Trying to figure out which one is which here as I skim without trying to spoil things too much. Yes, that is his name, Kadrish, yes. Not that the John Wayne impression isn't weirdly genius. Thank you, Yes Queen. It is fantastic. I will admit it is great. But I don't know why I thought that this extremely important character wouldn't be around enough for it to matter. But for some reason in the moment, I was like, I bet Jurian's not going to be around that much. He hasn't been around before too much, so he probably won't be around that much going forward, will he? It's not like he's the whole reason we're here. So yeah. And yes, Maserati, he is the one that fucked over more. Okay. I'm gonna try to find a voice for these guys that doesn't sound too much like something else.
So if Lucian sounds like this,
then perhaps they sound like this. Is this one of them?
this could be the stupid one. Is there a stupid one? I don't know. No, I'm not gonna make them sound like, hey, you guys. You guys over there.
Hey, it's our brother Lucian.
He's not dumb for sure. Thank you.
Hey, it's our boy. It's our boy over here.
No, I'm gonna save that for somebody else. I need that for goons.
See,
One of the brothers should def talk like that. Okay. Alright. Yeah, one of them. He's a badman, but is he?
Oh, question mark.
Oh, interesting, exciting, okay.
Father?
The one now holding a knife to my throat said to Lucian, this is just the voice I'm gonna do. They're all gonna sound the same. I can only do so many man's voices.
Is rather put out that you didn't stop by to say hello. It's going to kind of talk in a stilted way like this. Or is he?
We're on an errand and can't be delayed,
Lucian answered smoothly, mastering himself. That knife pressed a fraction harder into my skin as he let out a humorless laugh.
Right. Rumor has it you two have run off together. Cuckold and Tamlin.
His grin widened.
I didn't think you had it in you, little brother.
Oh.
He had it in her, it seems.
One of the others sniggered. It's that one. That's the one that talks like that.
Yo, it's the one that looks like he had it in her. Yeah.
I slid my gaze to the male above me. You will release us.
Our esteemed father wishes to see you,
he said with a snake's smile. The knife didn't waver.
So you will come with us to his home.
Eris?
Lucian warned. The name clanged through me. Above me, mere inches away. Moore's former betrothed. The male who had abandoned her when he found her brutalized body on the border. The High Lord's heir. I gabagool!
These brothers all have really different voices. They all learned to talk very different.
Hey, they got the one. He's just, he's just like that. He was sent away to school somewhere else, He talks like this, it's fine.
Yeah. could have sworn phantom talons bit into my palms. Yeah, she'd want to kill this guy for sure. A day or two more, and I might have been able to slash them across his throat. But I didn't have that time. I only had now. I had to make it count. Eris merely said to me, cold and bored, "Get up." I felt it then, stirring awake as if some stick had poked it, as if being here in this territory, amongst its blooded royals, had somehow sparked it to life, boiling past that poison, turning that poison to steam. With his knife still angled against my neck, I let Eris haul me to my feet, the other two dragging Lucian before he could stand on his own. Make it count, use my surroundings. I caught Lucian's eye, and he saw the sweat beading on my temple, my upper lip, as my blood heated. Oh, last time she said her blood heated, she was getting ready to fuck. I don't think that's what's happening right now, though. A slight bob of his chin was the only sign of understanding. Eris would bring us to Baron, and the High Lord would either kill us for sport, sell us to the highest bidder, or hold us indefinitely. And after what they had done to Lucian's lover, what they'd done to Moore? "After you," Eris said smoothly, lowering that knife at last. He shoved me a step. I'd been waiting. Balance, Cassian had taught me, was crucial to winning a fight. And as Eris's shove caused him to get an uneven footing, I turned my propelled step on him, twisting so fast he didn't see me get into his open guard. I drove my elbow into his nose. Eris stumbled back. Flame slammed into the other two, and Lucian hurtled out of the way as they shouted and fell deeper into the cave. I unleashed every drop of the flame in me, a wall of it between us and them, sealing his brothers inside the cave. "Run!" I gasped out, but Lucian was already at my side, a steadying hand under my arm as I burned that flame hotter and hotter. It wouldn't keep them contained for long, and I could indeed feel someone's power rising to challenge mine. Ooh. But there was another force to wield. Lucian understood the same moment I did. Sweat simmered on Lucian's brow as a pulse of flame-licked power slammed into the stones just above us. Dust and debris rained down. I threw any trickle of magic into Lucian's next blow. His next. As Eris's livid face emerged from my net of flame, glowing like a new forged god of wrath, Lucian and I brought down the cave ceiling. Fire burst through the small cracks like 1,000 flaming serpents' tongues, but the cave-in did not so much as tremble. "Hurry!" Lucian panted, and I didn't waste breath agreeing as we staggered into the night. Our packs, our weapons, our food, all inside that cave. I had 2 daggers on me. Lucian had 1. I'd been wearing my cloak, but he'd indeed given me his. He shivered against the cold as we dragged and clawed our way up the mountain slope, and did not dare stop. Had I still remained human, I would have been dead. The cold was bone deep, the screaming wind lashing us like burning whips. My teeth clacked against each other, my fingers so stiff I could scarcely grapple onto the icy granite with each mile we staggered through the mountains. Perhaps both of us were spared from an icy death by the kernel of flame that had just barely kindled inside our veins. We didn't pause once, an unspoken fear that if we did, the cold would leach any lingering warmth and we'd never again move. Or Lucian's brothers would gain ground. I tried over and over to shout down the bond to Reese, to Winnow, to grow wings and attempt to fly us out of the mountain pass we trudged through, the snow waist deep and so densely packed in places we had to crawl over it, our skin scraped raw from the ice. But the Feybane's stifling grip still held the majority of my power in check. We had to be close to the Wintercourt border, I told myself as we squinted against a blast of icy wind through the other end of the narrow mountain pass. Close, and once we were over it, Eris and the others wouldn't dare set foot into another court's territory. My muscles screamed with every step, my boots soaked through with snow, my feet perilously numb. I'd spent enough human winters in the forest to know the dangers of exposure, the threat of cold and wet. Lucian, a step behind me, panted hard as the walls of rock and snow parted to reveal a bitter, star-flecked night, and more mountains beyond. I almost whimpered.
We've got to keep going,
He said, snow crusting the stray strands of his hair, and I wondered if the sound had indeed left me. Ice tickled my frozen nostrils. We can't last long. We need to get warm and rest.
My brothers.
We will die if we continue, or lose fingers and toes at the best. I pointed to the mountain slope ahead, a hazardous plunge down. We can't risk that at night. We need to find a cave and try to make a fire.
With what?
He snapped.
Do you see any wood?
I only continued on. Arguing just wasted energy and time, and I didn't have an answer anyway. I wondered if we'd make it through the night. We found a cave, deep and shielded from wind or sight. Lucian and I carefully covered our tracks, making sure the wind blew in our favor, veiling our scents. That was where our luck ran out. No wood to be found, no fire in either of our veins. So we used our only option. Body heat. Are we trying to make this horny? Or is this just sweet? Always fucking body heat, isn't it? I'd cuddle him. Okay, music, you're trying to tell me something. This is supposed to be kinda horny. Huddled in the farthest reaches of the cave, we sat thigh to thigh and arm to arm beneath my cloak, shuddering with cold and dripping wet. I could scarcely hear the hollow scream of the wind over my chattering teeth, and his. Find me, find me, find me, I tried shouting down that bond. But my mates, wry voice didn't answer. Tonight's edition of Is This Horny or Is It Sweet? Porque no les dos? It can be both, so why not both? Can we get that incentive link again? Sure thing, sup. Both, as usual. Both. So yeah, there's the incentive link, and because it was requested, by the way, $25 or more gets you a signed pinup photo. Selections available at dottiechampagne.ca for examples, but any photo of your choice, mailed directly to you. I will also take additional shots for $10. We're fundraising for Nashville, so please, let's make that little bar goal further. Get me drunk. Make me take shots of this rum. Getting drunk on a Wednesday. Yeah. Just checking the time. We're still making good time. It's already almost 9, but I started late, so we're gonna roll on through this. At the next break, though, I do have to go feed the dog. So, take a moment, but anyway, they're here. They're all soaking wet, and they're laying there like this, arm against arm and thigh against thigh, which is not the not the best way to use body heat, and also, technically, they should try to take as much of the wet stuff off as they can. Just saying, but, you know. Aw, so $10. Thank you. You know what $10 means? You know what $10 means? We doing this. This is for Sot for being the best. Thank you so much. Come on, Feyre Boybreaker. You know what you have to do. She has fucked 2 High Lords already, which is more than I'm sure most people have. And although she is fully made Therese and I'm not, like, down with affairs, I am down with, you know, in book life, things getting dangerously close. And although he is not a High Lord, he is pretty close to one. The Lord of Foxes, and that's hot. I'm here for it. Just warm up is all I'm saying. Snuggle your brother-in-law. Why not? I could scarcely hear the hollow scream of the wind over my chattering teeth and his. Find me, find me, find me. I tried shouting down that bond, but my mate's wry voice didn't answer. I already took a shot for that mate. There was only the roaring void. The roaring void.
Tell me about her. About Elaine,
Lucian said quietly. Guys, as if the death that squatted in the dark beside us had drawn his thoughts to his own mate as well. Just when I think I'm safe. I debated not saying anything, shaking too hard to dredge up speech, but... She loves her garden. Always loved growing things. Even when we were destitute, she managed to tend a little garden in the warmer months. And when our fortune returned, she took to tending and planting the most beautiful gardens you've ever seen, even in Prithian. It drove the servants mad because they were supposed to do the work, and ladies were only meant to clip a rose here and there. But Elaine would put on a hat and gloves and kneel in the dirt, weeding. She acted like a purebred lady in every regard but that. Someone get this girl some potatoes! Said it before, say it again. I'm a bitch for potatoes. Oh, I had some roast potatoes for lunch today. Like, as part of my lunch, I ordered food. It was so good. I'd eat potatoes every day, man. Bitch for potatoes. Lucian was silent for a long moment.
acted, he murmured. You talk about her as if she's dead.
I don't know what changes the cauldron wrought on her. I don't think going home is an option, no matter how she might yearn to.
Surely Prithian is a better alternative, war or no.
I steeled myself before saying, She's engaged, Lucian. I felt every inch of him go stiff beside me.
To whom?
Flat, cold words, the threat of violence simmering beneath. To a human lord's son. The Lord hates fairies. Has dedicated his life and wealth to hunting them. Us. I was told that, though it's a love match, her betrothed father was keen to have access to her considerable dowry to continue his crusade against fairy kind. He is stiff.
Elaine loves this lord's son?
Not quite a question. She says she does. Nesta thought the father and his obsession with killing fairies was bad enough to raise some alarms. She never voiced the concern to Elaine. Neither did I.
My mate is engaged to a human male.
He spoke more to himself than to me. I'm gonna be so drunk. Holy crap. That's bad. You okay? You doing okay? She's good. Ugh, fuck. That one was gross. That was real gross. Okay.
I'm sorry if I want to see her. Just once. Just to know.
To know what? He hitched my damp cloak higher around us.
If she's worth fighting for.
I couldn't bring myself to say she was. To give him that sort of... Sitting in, y'all. To give him that sort of hope when Elaine might very well do everything in her power to hold to her engagement. How? The man wants to kill you! Anyway, even if immortality had already rendered it impossible. Lucian leaned his head back against the rock wall behind us.
And then I'll ask your mate how he survived it, knowing you were engaged to someone else, sharing another male's bed.
Guys, there's like 4 coming up. I can see them. I'm so dead. I'm so dead. This conversation is going to kill me. Oh my god. I'm gonna be sick. Like, I'm gonna die. Goodbye. Holy shit. I can't stop laughing. I can't stop. 1 second. Okay, this one's gonna count for 2, okay? I tucked my freezing hands into my arms, gazing toward the gloom ahead.
Tell me when you knew,
He demanded, his knee pressing into mine.
that Rasan was your mate.
That one counted. Shots going down on a Wednesday. Fun tomorrow is office manager, yeah. Yee.
That Rasan was your mate. Tell me when you stopped loving Tamlin and started loving him instead.
I chose not to answer. I almost feel obligated to take a shot with you, but like, just one. Yeah, like, not the, like, what is it now? Like 6 or 7 I've taken? Oh, God. It's rough, man. Anyway. So is Lucian asking this because he wants to know about Feyre and, like, what happened with Tamlin, or does he want to know so that he can, like, have some insight into how Elaine might be feeling, R.E. him? These are the questions. When I take a break to give that dog some food, I will give my tummy some food so that I don't die. Because I'm feeling this so much.
Was it going on before you even left?
I whipped my head to him, even if I could barely make out his features in the dark. I never touched Rasan like that until months later.
You kissed under the mountain.
You kissed it in the mountain. What are you, a teen girl? Fuck off. I had as little choice in that as I did in the dancing.
And yet this is the male you now love.
That is an excellent point, Lucian. On how to deal? Yeah. Like, Lucian right now, his brain is like in the place that I was last book, pre-chapter 55. Where I was like, this fucking guy did that shit to you, and you're like, cool with it? But then we got the explanation, and I'm cool. But I can channel the rage and understand
It doesn't mean mommy and daddy love you any less. Yes, Lucian very much so feels like his parents are getting divorced right now. Now he's got to choose which friend he's going to stay friends with. And he's like trying to make the right choice here, okay? So he needs to know. Because he can't be friends with both of them. Whose dinner parties does he keep going to? He didn't know. He had no inkling of the personal history, the secrets that had opened my heart to the High Lord of the Night Court. They were not my stories to tell. At this point, Tamlin has arguably done worse. Yes, correct. But Lucian does not know that, technically. And like I said, like, he's still coming from the, like, assuming Rasan did a lot worse stuff than he actually did, with a lot worse intentions. And he's coming from a place of being Tamlin's very, very good friend. And having made all these excuses for him, and he's probably in the same place where he's like, well, I mean, like, he did XYZ thing, but it was because he loves her. It was because he was trying to save her. It was because he was trying to do whatever excuse he's come up with for the bad, right? So that's where Lucian is right now. His information is not our information, and that's literally Feyre saying that right now. Like, Lucian didn't know, and I can't really tell him because it has a lot to do with Rasan's personal history, which Feyre, unlike myself, is not willing to spill. I am a gossip. I admit that openly. I have a hard time not spilling tea. It's gotten me in shit before. I'm that friend. I am a good person to confide in, because when it really fucking counts, I won't. Like, I'm not, like, gonna do it to snipe you, right? Or, like, cause problems for you. But, if you're gonna, like, especially if you tell me something you did that was shitty, I'm a snitch. I'm definitely a snitch. I mean, I did 100% snitch on one of my family members not too long ago, as we've discussed. So. He knows about the fairy hit Tamlin did twice. He does know about that, but like I said, he's still in the weird brain space of him trying to make excuses. And also, I will say this for Lucian, I think Lucian was kind of like friend abused, right? Like, he was manipulated and intimidated and treated poorly by Tamlin also. So, like, he's still in that brain space of, like, making a lot of excuses for him. He friend whipped. So, he needs to be broken out of that. We're working on it. Oh, yeah, totally. So, Lucian just needs to be deprogrammed. Lucian himself has not done any bads, which is why I can still love him and not feel bad about it. He has participated in some actions which were negative, but in some ways that was under duress because he was being manipulated. It's kind of like being in a cult. Yes, and he is kind of a weenie, as we have established. I can forgive being a weenie. I don't mind if you're a weenie. It's okay. This is a weenie safe space. It is safe to be a weenie here. Having been there, he does sound like someone just coming out of an abusive relationship. Yes, he does. Like, I think that Tamlin is, like, after his girlfriend got fucking murdered by his family, Tamlin is kind of like his surrogate relationship. You know how people do that, right? Where they'll, like, if they aren't ready to be in, like, a relationship or they feel like they don't want one because something really traumatic, they will, like, glom onto a friend sometimes and make that be their, like, meaningful relationship in their life. And there's nothing wrong with having a meaningful friendship. That's totally cool. But it's like, if the friend is not receiving of it in an appropriate and healthy way, this kind of thing happens. So that's where we're at. And
Lucian's having a hard time with this, and we're gonna get into it more here. And this is where we're gonna also see the few other instances of the shot word, which I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip a couple for my own sanity and stomach until I can put a food in here. I need a minute. So the rest, at least of this next page, I can't. Because we're at the top of this page right now. So, anyway, so they were not her stories to tell. She can't tell him things about Rasant. I would be telling him all the shit. Because as far as I was concerned, I'd be like, this is just a story. It makes him look good. It doesn't matter. It's fine. One would think, Lucian, that you'd be glad I fell in love with my mate. See, skipping it. Given that you're in the same situation Reese was in 6 months ago.
You left us.
Us. Not Tamlin. Us. See, he thinks of them as like the same. The words echoed into the dark, toward the howling wind and lashing snow beyond the bend. I told you that day in the woods. You abandoned me long before I ever physically left. I shivered again, hating every point of contact, but I so desperately needed his warmth. You fit into the spring court as little as I did, Lucian. You enjoyed its pleasures and diversions, but don't pretend you weren't made for something more than that. His metal eye whirred.
And where exactly do you believe I will fit in? The Night Court?
Sure, why not? Everybody there's hot.
You want to tell me that the Lord of Foxes
Is also part of the Night Court because that's fucking hot. Okay. Oh. Imagine. Lucian and all those like dark colors and like celestial shit all around them and the moonstone everywhere and oh fuck. Get him some of those Illyrian fighting leathers, which I picture as being very sexy, because leather's hot. Yeah. Lucian in leather. Black with that red hair, right? Yes! Yes! And the gold in the eye, because gold looks so good. Like, I know that, like, Reese's metallic palette is very silver, but I am very pro gold. Like, I don't wear silver very often. Gold is my color. So, like, fuck yeah. About it. I'm about it. So excited for this. Okay. But anyway, he's like, do you think I'll fit in there? I'm like, yes, you will. You will fit so well. Please go. Please wear the blue. I didn't answer. I didn't have one, honestly. As High Lady, I could likely offer him a position if we survived long enough to make it home. I'd do it mostly to keep Elaine from ever going to the Spring Court. But I had little doubt Lucian would be able to hold his own against my friends. And some small, horrible part of me enjoyed the thought of taking one more thing away from Tamlin. Something vital, something essential. We should leave at dawn, was my only reply. Girl, you already took him. He's gone, like he left with you. So, like, yeah. I think he's pretty much out. Like, at this point, the way Tamlin is, I don't think he's forgiving him. Unless he tells some heinous lie. I think you have Lucian now. Like, you've adopted him. It's like, you left and you took the cat, right? Like, you took the cat, so it's your cat now. We lasted the night. Every part of me was stiff and aching when we began our careful trek down the mountain. Not a whisper or trace of Lucian's brothers, or any sort of life. I didn't care, not when we at last passed over the border and into Wintercourt lands. Beyond the mountain, a great ice plain sparkled into the distance. It would take days to cross, but it didn't matter. I'd awoken with enough power in my veins to warm us with a small fire. Slowly, so slowly, the effects of the Faebane ebbed. I was willing to wager that we'd be halfway across the ice by the time we could winnow out of here. If our luck held and no one else found us, I ran through every lesson Rhys had taught me about the Wintercourt and its High Lord, Callias. Callias? Kalis? Do I want to say it Kalis like the Klingon god from Star Trek? Or do I want to say it Kalis? Callias, which just sounds weird. Kalis? Callias. I don't know how to say this. Fuck. I don't want to say Kalis, because that's, like I said, this is the Klingon guy from Star Trek, and that would be fucked up. I'm going to say Callias. Callias. And that's difficult to say. And Callias. 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 Okay. Thank you, Katrusha. That is how I'll say it. I'm going to say it weird till I sober up. But it's how I'm going to say it. Towering, exquisite palaces, full of roaring hearths and bedecked in evergreens. Carved sleighs were the court's preferred method of transportation, because of course it fucking would be. Hauled by velvet-antlered reindeer, whose splayed hooves were ideal for the ice and snow. Are they ruled by Santa? Their forces were well trained, but they often relied on the great white bears that stalked the realm for any unwanted visitors. Santa? Think of it like the name of a Greek god. Drunk me can't process that. Okay. You're asking a lot. We will get there. It's okay. I think I'm overthinking it. I'm very much so picturing Santa chic right now for everyone, by the way. I prayed none of them waited on the ice. Their coats perfectly blended into the terrain. No, it's okay, Katrusha, please help. You're helping a lot. If I'm coming off like I don't want it, that's a lie. I want your help very much. I do. I need it, actually. Especially right now. Anyway. No, it's okay, Katrusha. It's alright. I can get it. It's more just that, like, my drunk face won't do it. It's not. I got this. Thank you. Thank you. The Night Court's relationship with Winter was fine enough, still tenuous, as all our bonds were after Amarantha, High Lord Elsa, yes. After she'd butchered so many of them, including, I remembered with no small surge of nausea, dozens of Winter Court children. Oh god, she specifically murdered the children? Why? Was she just like, no little people in the Winter Court. They're too much like elves. I refuse. I literally just said that, yes, Queen, yes. Our brains are there. Right? Yes, take out the next generation. And the younglings. And the women. And the children, too. No choices here, yeah. Although, as we've learned from history, you don't actually want to kill the children. That's not a good way of dealing with it. What you want to do is you want to go in and you want to flip the children. You want to bring them to your side. You want to groom them from a young age to believe that you, the leader, are better than their parents. And then they turn their parents into you. And then you kill their parents. And then the next generation coming up supports you. We learned this from Hitler and we learned this from Stalin, both of whom did it to great effect. Also, North Korea does it quite a lot as well. And has made a lot of progress that way. So remember this, future dictators. You want to be the choice of the children. I believe the children are our future. Indoctrinate them, they will lift you up. That's not how the song goes. That's not what it's about. Cool and good. Yep, boom, flip it. But yes, I would rather think of them as elves, honestly. Oh yes, damn it, Amarantha, we expected better from your evil. Oh, those dictators, I swear. That's not the kind of potatoes I'm into. I couldn't imagine it. The loss, the rage, and grief. I'd never had the nerve to ask Reese in those months of training who the children had belonged to, what the consequences had been, if it was considered the worst of Amarantha's crimes or just one of countless others. But despite any tentative bonds, Winter was one of the seasonal courts. It might side with Tamlin, with Tarquin. Our best allies remained the solar courts, Dawn and Day. But they lie far to the north, above the demarcation line between the solar and seasonal courts. That slice of sacred, unclaimed land that held under the mountain. And the weaver's cottage. We'd be gone before we ever had to set foot in that lethal ancient forest. It was another day and night before we cleared the mountains entirely and set foot on the thick ice. Nothing grew, and I could only tell when we were on solid land by the dense snow-packed beneath. Otherwise, too frequently, the ice was clear as glass, revealing dark, depthless lakes beneath. At least we didn't encounter any of the white bears. But the real threat, we both quickly realized, was the utter lack of shelter. Out on the ice, there was none to be found against the wind and cold. And if we lit a fire with our feeble magic, anyone nearby would spot it. No matter the practicality of lighting a fire atop a frozen lake. The sun was just slipping above the horizon, staining the plain with gold, the shadows still a bruised blue, when Lucian said,
"Tonight, we'll melt some of the ice pack enough to soften it, and build a shelter."
"Igloo time!" I considered. We were barely 100 feet onto what seemed to be an endless lake. It was impossible to tell where it ended. "You think we'll be out on the ice for that long?" Lucian frowned toward the dawn-stained horizon.
"Likely, but who knows how far it extends?"
Indeed, the snowdrifts hid much of the ice beneath. "Perhaps there's some way around," I mused, glancing back toward our abandoned little camp. We looked at the same time, and both beheld the three figures now standing at the lake edge, smiling. Eris lifted a hand wreathed in flame. Flame, to melt the ice on which we stood. How the fuck did these guys catch up? Sons of bitches. They have magic. They have more magic than Feyre and Lucian do right now. Fair enough. Okay, I need 2 minutes to give this pupper some food. And I will be right back. And then I can start taking shots again if they say the word mate again. Doozy. Okay, I'll be right back. Be right back. I'm back. I changed out of my sweater. I was too fucking sweaty. I was getting gross. Was not a good time. Mimi's finished her food. She's back. Hey. I grabbed some cookies. So I now have a food in front of me. Not a healthy food, but as usual, it's some cookies. Oh, here's a Mimi. Here's a Mimi. Okay. Your shoes. She had her dinner that has little shell pastas in it. She really likes that one. Because it's almost like a people food. I don't know why they make that wet dog food that has pasta in it. It feels weird. But she likes it, and it's supposedly good for her, so she can eat the pasta, I guess. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna go on to chapter 13 now. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Music just got kind of ominous, which is good for what's going on. So, yeah, Lucian's brothers caught up, those fuckers. You know, by all accounts, it doesn't make any sense. Yes. Thank you for this. Yep. You done? You done? Okay. Stop licking me. Stop it. Old doggies like pasta more than the ones with rice, I have noticed. Oh. That's a good point. Before we get started again, though, this will be my next attempt at plugging this. So we are still doing our fundraiser up here, $25 or more, and you'll get a signed pinup photo of your choice. Go to dottiechampagne.ca to see a selection of what's available, as well as my Instagram at Dottie Champagne. You can also donate $10, and I will take an additional shot. So if you want to get me even more tanked, if you want to force more rum down my throat, that's how you can do that. The dono link is popping up right now for y'all. We're fundraising for the Nashville Last Podcast on the Left Jamboree, which I am helping set up some like side events and things for everybody. So the more I can fundraise, the easier it is for me to put the effort and the time in, the less I'm worried about it, and the more I can just focus on making it a good time for y'all. But there are incentives. So please consider donating. I'd really appreciate it. It would make a big difference for me. Also follow and subscribe if you haven't done one or both of those things, because those also help me. The donations are what I'm primarily driving for right now, but follows and subs are always appreciated because those do support me as well. I will also point out that I have purchased all of the books for the rest of the series because we're pot committed. So that it wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. So. Oh, and also, Mimi needs her vaccinations right before the trip, according to my vet. And so I will also have to pay for that. You're expensive. I love you, but you're expensive. So make sure that Mimi doesn't get rabies. Or that it's not painful for me to make sure that Mimi doesn't get rabies. Because you don't want a rabid Mimi. That would not be good for anyone. Okay, she'd kill us all. But we are moving on to chapter 13 now. We're going to see what Lucian's brothers have done or are going to do. Quite nervous about it. This fucking guy! Fucking guy!
Run!
Lucian breathed. I didn't dare take my eyes off his brothers, not as Eris lowered that hand to the frozen edge of the lake. Run where, exactly? Flesh met ice and steam rippled. The ice went opaque, thawing in a line that shot for us. We ran. The slick ice made for a treacherous sprint, my ankles roaring with the effort of keeping me upright. Ahead, the lake stretched on forever, and with the sun barely awake, the dangers would be even harder to spot.
Faster,
Lucian ordered. Don't look, he barked as I began to turn my head to see if they'd followed. He lashed out a hand to grip my elbow, steadying me before I could even register that I'd stumbled. Where would we go? Where would we go? Where would we go? Water splashed beneath my boots. Thawed ice. Eris had to either be expending all his power to get through millennia of ice, or was just doing it slowly to torture us.
Zag,
Lucian panted.
We need to zag on him.
You're gonna zag on him. What is the difference between a zig and a zag? Like, is there one that's assigned to a particular direction, or is it just like a term? He shoved me aside, and I staggered, arms wheeling, just as an arrow ricocheted off the ice where I'd been standing.
Faster,
Lucian snapped, and I didn't hesitate. They're also shooting at them? Pick one. Pick one. I hurtled into a flat-out sprint, Lucian and I weaving in and out of each other's paths as those arrows continued firing. Ice sprayed where they landed, and no matter how fast we ran, the ground beneath us melted and melted. Ice. I had ice in my veins, and now that we were over the border of the Winter Court, I didn't care if they saw it. My power. Kalius's power. I'm just gonna say it. Not when the alternatives were far worse. I threw out a hand before us as a melting splotch began to spread. Ice groaning. A spray of ice shot from my palm, freezing the lake once more. With each pump of my arms as I ran, I fired that ice from my palms, solidifying what Eris sought to melt ahead of us. Maybe, just maybe, we could clear the lake, and if we were stupid enough to be atop of it when we did, or if they were stupid enough to be atop of it when we did, if I could form ice, I could certainly unform it. I crossed paths with Lucian again, meeting his wide eyes as we did, and opened my mouth to tell him my plan when Eris appeared, not behind, ahead. But it was the other brother at his side, arrow aimed and already flying for me, who drew the shout from my throat. I lunged to the side, rolling, not fast enough. The arrow's edge sliced the shell of my ear, my cheek, leaving a stinging wake. Lucian shouted, but another arrow was flying. It went clean through my right forearm this time. Oh, fuck. Ice sliced into my face, my hands, as I went down, knees barking, arms shrieking in agony at the impact. Oh, fuck. Behind, steps thudded on ice as the third brother closed in. I bit my lip hard enough to draw blood as I ripped away the cloth of my jacket and shirt from my forearm, snapped the arrow in two, and tore the pieces from my flesh. My roar shattered and bounced across the ice. Eris had taken one step toward me, smiling like a wolf, when I was up again, my last two Illyrian knives in my palms, my right arm screaming at the movement. Around me, the ice began to melt.
This can end with you going under, begging me to get you out once that ice instantly refreezes, Eris drawled.
Behind him, cut off by his brothers, Lucian had drawn his own knife and now sized up the other two.
Or this can end with you agreeing to take my hand. But either way, you will be coming with me.
Fucker. Already the flesh in my arm was knitting together, healing from Dawn's powers reawakening in my veins. And if that was working, I didn't give Eris time to read my move. I sucked in a sharp breath. White, blinding light erupted from me. Eris swore, and I ran. Not toward him, not when I was still too injured to wield my knives, but away, toward that distant shore. Half blinded myself, I stumbled and staggered until I was clear of the treacherous melting splotches, then sprinted. I made it all of 20 feet before Eris went out in front of me and struck. The backhanded blow to the face, so hard my teeth went through my lip. Oh, fuck, girl! You are getting destroyed! Jesus Christ! He struck again before I could even fall, a punch to my gut that ripped the air from my lungs. Beyond me, Lucian had unleashed himself upon his two brothers. Metal and fire blasted and collided, ice spraying. I'd no sooner hit the ice than Eris grabbed me by the hair, right at the roots. The grip so brutal tears stung my eyes, but he dragged me back toward that shore, back across the ice. I fought against the blow to my gut, fought to get a wisp of air down my throat, into my lungs. My boots scraped against the ice as I feebly kicked, yet Eris held firm. I think Lucian shouted my name. I opened my mouth, but a gag of fire shoved its way between my lips. It didn't burn, but was hot enough to tell me it would if Eris willed it. Equal bands of flame wrapped around my wrists, my ankles, my throat. I couldn't remember. Couldn't remember what to do, how to move, how to stop this. I'm sorry, is this man making fire into, like, physical bonds, but the fire's not hot enough to burn you? Because I don't think that's how fucking fire works, bro. I guess it's magic fire. But I think, like, even the coldest fire burns you. I've never heard of a fire that don't burn ya. Even a little. Thought that was the whole point of fire. Fucking. Maybe it just doesn't burn them because they have the autumn cord stuff? Maybe. Closer and closer to the shore, to the awaiting party of sentries that winnowed in and out of nowhere. No, no, no. Y'all. A shadow slammed into the earth before us, cracking the ice toward every horizon. Not a shadow. An Illyrian warrior. Who is it? 7 red siphons glinted over his scaled black armor as Cassian tucked in his wings and snarled at Eris with 5 centuries worth of rage. Yay! Cassian has wings! Cassian has wings! Yay, 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 yay! Sorry, I'm very excited about this for him. Not dead, not hurt, whole. His wings repaired and strong. I loosed a shuddering sob over the burning gag. Cassian's siphons flickered in response, as if the sight of me at Eris's hand. Another impact struck the ice behind us. Shadows skittered in its wake. Azrael, yeah! They're all coming in, and they're gonna fucking beat this guy's ass. Yeah! It's our boys! Our boys are here! I began crying in earnest, some leash I'd kept on myself snapping free as my friends landed. As I saw that Azrael too was alive, was healed. As Cassian drew twin Illyrian blades, the sight of them like home, and said to Eris with lethal calm, I suggest you drop my lady. The boys! The boys are back in town! Eris's grip on my hair only tightened, bringing a whimper from me. That fucking guy. The wrath that twisted Cassian's face was world-ending. But his hazel eyes slid to mine, a silent command. He'd spent months training me, not just to attack, but to defend. She protect, she attack. Also, she a stack. Had taught me, over and over, how to get free of a captor's grasp, how to manage not only my body, but my mind, as if he'd known that it was a very real possibility that this scenario would one day happen. Eris had bound my limbs, but I could still move them, still use parts of my magic. And getting him off balance long enough to let go, to let Cassian jump between us and take on the High Lord's son? Towering over me, Eris didn't so much as glance down as I twisted, spinning on the ice, and slammed my bound legs up between his. He lurched, bending over with a grunt. Right into the fisted, bound hands I drove into his nose. Bone crunched as his hand sprang free of my hair. I rolled, scrambling away. Cassian was already there. Eris hardly had time to draw his sword as Cassian brought his own down upon him. Steel against steel rang out across the ice. Sentries on the shore unleashed arrows of wood and magic, only to bounce against a shield of blue. Azrael. Across the ice, he and Lucian were engaging with the other two brothers. The other brothers. That any of Lucian's siblings held out against the Illyrians was a testament to their own training, but I focused the ice in my veins on the gag in my mouth, the binds around my wrists and ankles. Ice to smother fire, to sing it to sleep. Cassian and Eris clashed, danced back, clashed again. Ropes of fire snapping free, dissolving with a hiss of steam. I was on my feet again, reaching for a weapon I did not have. My daggers had been lost 40 feet away. Cassian got past Eris's guard with brutal efficiency, and Eris screamed as the Illyrian blade punched through his gut. Blood, red as rubies, stained the ice and snow. For a heartbeat, I saw how it would play out. 3 of Baron's sons dead at our hands. A temporary satisfaction for me, 5 centuries of satisfaction for Cassian, Azrael, and more. But if Baron still debated what side to support in this war, I had other weapons to use. Stop, I said. The word was a soft, cold command, and Azrael and Cassian obeyed. Lucian's other 2 brothers were back to back, bloody and gaping. Lucian himself was panting, sword still raised, as Azrael flicked the blood off his own blade and stalked toward me. I met the hazel eyes of the Shadow Singer, the cool face that hid such pain and kindness. "Hey yo, I'm fighting over here!" He had come. Cassian had come. The Illyrians fell into place beside me. Eris, a hand pressed to his gut, was breathing wetly, glaring at us. Glaring and considering. Watching the 3 of us, as I said to Eris, to his other 2 brothers, to the sentries on the shore. "You all deserve to die for this, and much, much more. But I'm going to spare your miserable lives." Even with a wound through his gut, Eris's lip curled. Cassian snarled his warning. I only removed the glamour I'd kept of myself these weeks. With the sleeve of my jacket and shirt gone, there was nothing but smooth skin where that wound had been. Smooth skin that now became adorned with swirls and whirls of ink, the markings of my new title and my mating bond. So, she was able to keep the glamour on herself, but her fucking magic was gone. I need someone to explain the mechanics of this to me. So no magic, but you can have a tattoo cover-up. Unless it's one of those things that it's like you set it and forget it. That's probably how it works. Let's assume that's how it works so that I don't get mad for no reason, because I'm getting shouty. I'm getting shouty. Lucian's face drained of color as he strode for us. I assume she just had a glove on, right? Yeah, no. Lucian's face drained of color as he strode for us, stopping a healthy distance from Azrael's side. "I am High Lady of the Night Court," I said quietly to them all. I announced it like she's fucking giving a speech, but... Even Eris stopped sneering. His amber eyes widened, something like fear now creeping into them. "There's no such thing as a High Lady," one of Lucian's brothers spat. A faint smile splayed my mouth. There is now. And it was time for the world to know it. I caught Cassian's gaze, finding pride glimmering there, and relief. Hey, yo, there ain't no such thing as a high lady. What the fuck you doing? What, you think you're some kind of high lady or something? Take me home, I ordered him, my chin high and unwavering. Then to Azriel, take us both home. I said to the Autumn Court scions, we'll see you on the battlefield. Let them decide whether it was better to be fighting beside us or against us. I turned to Cassian, who opened his arms and tucked me in tight before launching us skyward in a blast of wings and power. Beside us, Azriel and Lucian did the same. Oh, did Azriel give him a big old hug and then they fly away because they're hugging?
It's like, by the way,
I've been fucking your girlfriend.
what?
When Eris and the others were nothing but specks of black on white below, when we were sailing high and fast, Cassian observed,
I don't know who looks more uncomfortable, Az or Lucian Vansera.
oh, their last name is Vansera. I chuckled, glancing over my shoulder to where the Shadow Singer carried my friend, both of them making a point not to speak, look, or talk. Vansera?
You never knew his family name?
I met those laughing, fierce hazel eyes. Cassian's smile softened.
Hello, Feyre.
My throat tightened to the point of pain, and I threw my arms around his neck, embracing him tightly.
I missed you too,
Cassian murmured, squeezing me. Friends. Oh, don't you love when like your two friend groups, they get together and like hit it off? I don't know if this is what's gonna happen, but I would like them to be friends. Any, no touch fire. Don't touch the fire. Would be bad. That would be bad for you. We flew until we reached the border of the sacred 8th territory. And when Cassian set us down in a snowy field before the ancient wood, I took one look at the blonde female in Illyrian leathers pacing between the gnarled trees and launched into a sprint. Oh. Moore held me tightly as I gripped her. Where is he? I asked, refusing to let go, to lift my head from her shoulder. It's a long story. Far away, but racing home, right now. Moore pulled back enough to scan my face. Her mouth tightened at the lingering injuries, and she gently scraped away flecks of dried blood caked on my ear. He picked up on you, the bond, minutes ago. The three of us were closest. I winnowed in Cassian, but with Eris and the others there. Guilt dimmed her eyes. Relations with the Winter Court are strained. We thought if I was out here on the border, it might keep Callias's forces from looking south. Callias's forces from looking south. At least long enough to get you. And to avoid an interaction with Eris that Moore was perhaps not ready for. I shook my head at the shame still shadowing her usually bright features. I understand. I embraced her again. I understand. Moore's answering squeeze was rib-crushing. Ouch. Azriel and Lucian landed, plumes of snow spraying in the farmer's wake. Moore and I released each other at last, my friend's face going grave as she sized up Lucian. Snow and blood and dirt coated us both. Cassian explained to Moore.
He fought against Eris and the other two.
Moore's throat bobbed, noting the blood staining Cassian's hands, realizing it wasn't his own. Scenting it, no doubt. As she blurted, Eris, did you... Even men's alive? Azriel answered, shadows curling around the clawed tips of his wings, so stark against the snow beneath our boots. So do the others. Lucian was glancing between all of them, wary and quiet. What he knew of Moore's history with his eldest brother, I'd never asked, never wanted to. Moore tossed her massive golden waves over her shoulder. Then let's go home. Which one? I asked carefully. Moore swept her attention over Lucian once more. I almost pitied Lucian for the weight in her gaze, the utter judgment. The stare of the Morrigan, whose gift was pure truth. Whatever she beheld in Lucian was enough for her to say. The townhouse. You have someone waiting there for you. Oh, does she? Does she have someone waiting there? Okay, what chapter did I say we would get to today? What chapter did I say we would get to today? I said we would do 14. We're gonna do 14, folks. We're gonna do one more chapter and then that's it for tonight. Okay, guys, because I could leave it there and do like a terrible cliffhanger, but I kind of desperately want to see what these interactions are like. I'm like, so I gotta see. Okay. Chapter 14. I had not let myself imagine it. The moment I'd again stand in the wood-paneled foyer of the townhouse. When I'd hear the song of the gulls soaring high above Valaris. Smell the brine of the Sidra River that wended through the heart of the city. Feel the warmth of the sunshine streaming through the windows upon my back. Moore had winnowed us all, and now stood behind me, panting softly, as we watched Lucian survey our surroundings. His metal eye whirred, while the other warily scanned the rooms flanking the foyer, the dining room and sitting room overlooking the little front yard and street, then the stairs to the second level. Then the hallway beside it that led to the kitchen and courtyard garden. Then finally to the shut front door, to the city waiting beyond. Cassian took up a place against the banister, crossing his arms with an arrogance I knew meant trouble. Asriel remained beside me, shadows wreathing his knuckles, as if battling High Lord's sons was how they usually spent their days. I wondered if Lucian knew that his first words here would either damn or save him. I wondered what my role in it would be. No, it was my call. High Lady. I outranked them, my friends. It was my call to make whether Lucian was allowed to keep his freedom. But their watchful silence was indication enough. Let him decide his own fate. At last, Lucian looked at me, at us. He said,
There are children laughing in the streets.
I blinked. He said it with such quiet surprise, as if he hadn't heard the sound in a long, long time. I opened my mouth to reply, but someone else spoke for me. That they do so at all after Hybern's attack is testament to how hard the people of Valaris have worked to rebuild. I whirled, finding Amryn emerging from wherever she'd been sitting in the other room, the plush furniture hiding her small body. I always forget that Amryn is tiny. She appeared exactly as she had the last time I'd seen her, standing in this very foyer, warning us to be careful in Hybern. Her chin-length jet-black hair gleamed in the sunlight, her silver, unearthly eyes unusually bright as they met mine. I know, it's annoying, isn't it? The delicate female bowed her head, as much of a gesture of obedience as a 15,000-year-old creature would make to a newly minted High Lady. And friend. I see you brought home a new pet, she said, nose crinkling with distaste. Something like fear had entered Lucian's eye, as if he, too, beheld the monster that lurked beneath that beautiful face. Indeed, it seemed he had heard of her already. Before I could introduce him, Lucian bowed at the waist, deeply. Cassian let out an amused grunt, and I shot him a warning glare. Amren smiled slightly. Already trained, I see. Lucian slowly straightened, as if he were standing before the open maw of some great plains cat he did not wish to startle with sudden movements. Amren, this is Lucian Bencera. Lucian stiffened.
I don't use my family's name.
He clarified to Amren with another incline of his head.
Lucian will do.
Oh, he's only got one name, like Seal. Or Madonna. I suspected he'd ceased using that name the moment his lover's heart had stopped beating. Amren was studying that metal eye. Clever work, she said, then surveyed me. Looks like someone clawed you up, girl. The wound in my arm, at least, had healed, though a nasty red mark remained. I assumed my face wasn't much better. Before I could answer her, Lucian asked,
What is this place?
We all looked at him. Home, I said. This is my home. I could see the details now sinking in. The lack of darkness, the lack of screaming, the scent of the sea and citrus, not blood and decay. The laughter of children that indeed continued. The greatest secret in Prithian's history. This is Valaris, I explained. The city of starlight. His throat bobbed.
And you are High Lady of the Night Court?
One second, I'm making sure I know who this is. Okay. Indeed she is. My blood stopped at the voice that drawled from behind me. At the scent that hit me, awoke me. My friends began smiling. I turned. Rasan leaned against the archway. Fucking man. Always leaning on shit. In the sitting room, arms crossed, wings nowhere to be seen, dressed in his usual immaculate black jacket and pants. Well, no hands in the pockets at least, but yeah, goosh, goosh, goosh. And as those violet eyes met mine and that familiar half smile faded, what? I'm confused for a second, 1 second. And as those violet eyes met mine, as that familiar half smile faded, my face crumpled. A small, broken noise cracked from me. What? Reese was instantly moving, but my legs had already given out. The foyer carpet cushioned the impact as I sank to my knees. Oh. I covered my face with my hands while the past month crashed into me. Ugh. Reese knelt before me, knee to knee. Gently, he pulled my hands away from my face. Gently, he took my cheeks in his hands and brushed away my tears. Oh, she just started crying. Okay, I thought somebody was like attacking her for a second. I was like, Jesus Christ, what's going on? I was like, oh no, she's just having an emotional breakdown, and that's fair. I didn't care that we had an audience as I lifted my head and beheld the joy and concern and love shining in those remarkable eyes. Neither did Reese as he murmured, "My love," and kissed me. Oh. I no sooner slid my hands into his hair than he scooped me into his arms and stood in one smooth movement. It's supposed to be romantic and I'm doing that shit. Come on. I pulled my mouth from his, glancing toward a pallid Lucian, but Rasan said to our companions without so much as looking at them, "Go find somewhere else to be for a while." Okay. He didn't wait to see if they obeyed. Okay. Guys, I think we're gonna get a horny scene. This is exciting. And nerve-wracking. Okay. He didn't wait to see if they obeyed. Reese windowed us up the stairs and launched into a steady, swift walk down the hallway. It's like, I need to fuck you right now. I peered down at the foyer in time to spy more, grabbing Lucian's arm and nodding to the others before they all vanished. Do you want to go over what happened at the spring court? I asked, voice raw, as I studied my mate's face. Okay. No amusement. Nothing but that predatory intensity focused on my every breath. There are other things I'd rather do first. He carried me into our bedroom, once his room, now full of our belongings. It was exactly as I'd last seen it. The enormous bed that he now strode for, the 2 armoires, the desk by the window that overlooked the courtyard garden now bursting with purple and pink and blue amid the lush greens. I braced myself to be sprawled on the bed, but Reese paused halfway across the room, the door snicking shut on a star-kissed wind. Guys, should I still be doing nipple? Okay, it was asked. We're still doing nipple. This is happening. Okay, we'll see if we get there. Because I see several mates coming up as well. Coinsoined I am. Slowly, he set me on the plush carpet, blatantly sliding me down his body as he did so. No, don't do it. Okay, Katricia. Okay, Katricia. Okay. I've been warned that would be a death choice. I will make the best choices I can. We know he is a tit man. We do know he is a tit man. That is true. But he is like, he pushed her down, he put her down on the carpet and he's like, down. Touch dick, please. As if he was so powerless to resist touching me, as reluctant to let go as I was with him. And every place where our bodies met, all of him so warm and solid and real. I savored it, my throat tight as I placed a hand on his sculpted chest, the thunderous heartbeat beneath his black jacket echoing into my palm. The only sign of whatever torrent coursed through him as he skimmed his hands at my arms to a lingering caress and gripped my shoulders. His thumbs stroked a gentle rhythm over my filthy clothes as he scanned my face. Beautiful. He was even more beautiful than I had remembered, dreamed of during those weeks at the spring court. For a long moment, we only breathed in each other's air. That's gotta stink a little bit. For a long moment, all I could do was take the scent of him deep into my lungs, letting it settle inside me. My fingers tightened on his jacket. Mate. My mate. I'm taking one. If somebody looked at and warned me with the intensity that I do when I tell you guys that I'm not gonna take extra shots or like when I'm gonna make a concession, I think I'd be fucking scared of them. So I'm sorry. I'm sure Feyre's super stinky as well. I agree. Yeah, it's been a month for both of them, and they had to stop their horny heat time early too, so they're probably like really fucking, you know. Yeah. As if he'd heard it down the bond, Reese finally murmured, "When the bond went dark, I thought, fear, Genuine terror shadowed his eyes, even as his thumbs continued stroking my shoulders, gentle and steady.
By the time I got to the spring court, you'd vanished. Tamlin was raging through that forest, hunting for you. But you hid your scent, and even I couldn't find you.
With all the high scenting, she wouldn't have been able to relieve herself while at the spring court. True. So he went there. He went to the spring court to try to find her and couldn't. Very dangerous. And Tamlin was like fucking ripping up the forest and shit. The snag in his words was a knife to my gut. We went to the autumn court through one of the doors, I said, setting my other hand on his arm. The cord and muscles beneath shifted at my touch. You couldn't find me because 2 Hybern commanders drugged our food and drink with Faebane, enough to extinguish my powers. I still don't have full use. Cold rage now flickered across that beautiful face as his thumbs halted on my shoulders.
You killed them?
Not entirely a question, but I nodded.
Good.
I swallowed. Has Hybern sacked the spring court?
Not yet. Whatever you did, it worked. Tamlin's sentries abandoned him. Over half his people refused to appear for the tithe 2 days ago. Some are leaving for other courts. Some are murmuring for rebellion. It seems you made yourself quite beloved. Holy, even.
Amusement at last warmed his features.
They were rather upset when they believed he'd allowed Hybern to terrorize you into fleeing.
I traced the faint silver whirl of embroidery on the breast of his jacket, and I could have sworn he shuddered beneath the touch. I suppose they'll learn soon enough I'm well cared for. Reese's hands tightened on my shoulders in agreement, as if he were about to show me just how well cared for I was, but I angled my head. What about Ianthe? And Jurian? Rasan's powerful chest heaved beneath my hand as he blew out a breath.
Reports are murky on both. Jurian, it seems, has returned to the hand that feeds him. Ianthe,
Reese lifted his brows.
I assume her hand is courtesy of you, and not the commander's.
She fell, I said sweetly.
Must have been some fall,
he mused, a dark smile dancing on those lips as he drifted even closer, the heat of his body seeping into me while his hands migrated from my shoulders to brush lazy lines down my back. Violence just gets him so hot. Intense. I bit my lip, focusing on his words and not the urge to arch into the touch, to bury my face in his chest and do some exploring of my own. Oh.
She's currently convalescing after her ordeal, apparently. Won't leave her temple.
It was my turn to murmur. Good. Perhaps one of those pretty acolytes of hers would get sick of her sanctimonious bullshit and smother Ianthe in her sleep. I braced my hands on his hips, fully ready to slide beneath his jacket, needing to touch bare skin, but Reese straightened, pulling back. Still close enough that one of his hands remained on my waist, but the other? He reached for my arm, gently examining the angry welt where my skin had been torn by an arrow. Darkness rumbled in the corner of the room.
Cassian let me into his mind just now, to show me what happened on the ice.
Why did he pick that moment? Cassian! He told you to go be somewhere else for a while. You maybe should have told him later. Power is her thing, violence is his. They were kind of made for each other. Well, I mean, yeah. It's just like, That's kind of icky, but okay. Okay. But like Cassian, right now is not the time to be like, oh, by the way, bro, here's what happened. Maybe don't like report right now. Like write it down in your journal, slip it under the door. He'll find it later. You know? He stroked a thumb over the hurt, the touch feather-light.
Eris was always a male of limited days. Now Lucian might find himself closer to inheriting his father's throne than he ever expected to be.
Of course Cassian did that to be a troll. That fucking dude.
See, Reese is being like, yeah, like, you know, Lucian's gonna be the High Lord, right? We're like dropping a million hints here. We're making it very clear this is what's happening, right? Yeah? Okay, cool.
My spine locked. Eris is precisely as horrible as you painted him to be. Reese's thumb glided over my forearm again, leaving goose flesh in its wake. A promise, not of the retribution he was contemplating, but of what awaited us in this room. The bed a few feet away, until he murmured,
You declared yourself High Lady.
Was I not supposed to? He released my arm to brush his knuckles across my cheek.
I've wanted to roar it from the rooftops of Valaris from the moment the priestess anointed you. How typical of you to upend my grand plans.
A smile tugged at my lips. It happened less than an hour ago. I'm sure you could go crow from the chimney right now and everyone would give you credit for breaking the news. His fingers threaded through my hair, tilting my face up. That wicked smile grew, and my toes curled in their boots.
There's my darling Farah.
His head dipped, his gaze fixated on my mouth, hunger lighting those violet eyes. Farah, where are my sisters? The thought clanged through me, jarring as a pealing bell. Not now, Farah! Let it happen! Reese paused, hand slipping from my hair as his smile faded.
At the House of Wind.
He straightened, swallowing, as if it somehow checked him.
I can take you to them.
Every word seemed to be an effort. But he would, I realized. He'd shove down his need for me and take me to them, if that was what I wanted. My choice. It had always been my choice with him. You just need to say it. You know? I shook my head. I wouldn't see them. Not yet. Not until I was steady enough to face them. They're well, though? His hesitation told me enough.
They're safe.
Not really an answer. But I wasn't going to fool myself into thinking my sisters would be thriving. I leaned my brow against his chest. Cassian and Azrael are healed, I murmured against his jacket, breathing in the scent of him over and over as a tremor shuddered through me. You told me that, and yet I didn't. It didn't sink in. Until now. Reese ran a hand down my back, the other sliding to grip my hip.
Azrael healed within a few days. Cassian's wings. It was complex. But he's been training every day to regain his strength. The healer had to rebuild most of his wings. But he'll be fine.
I swallowed down the tightness in my throat and wrapped my arms around his waist, pressing my face wholly against his chest. His hand tightened on my hip in answer, the other resting at my nape, holding me to him as I breathed. Moore said you were far away. That was why you weren't there.
I'm sorry I wasn't.
No, I said, lifting my head to scan his eyes, the guilt dampening them. I didn't mean it like that. I savored the feel of him beneath my palms. Where were you? Reese stilled, and I braced myself as he said casually,
I couldn't very well let you do all the work to undermine our enemies, could I?
I didn't smile. Where were you?
With Az only recently back on his feet, I took it upon myself to do some of his work.
Clenched my jaw. Such as? He leaned down, nuzzling my throat.
Don't you want to comfort your mate, who has missed you terribly these weeks?
See, now he's avoiding something. He went from just needing to fuck her so bad to actively avoiding something. I don't trust like that. Something's up. Something is up. I'm almost out of water. I planted a hand on his face and pushed him back, scowling. I want my mate to tell me where the hell he was. Then he can get his comfort. Guys, I need to skip one. Reese nipped at my fingers, teeth snapping playfully. Stop biting! That was Tamlin's thing. The biting is Tamlin's thing. Stop it. It's not good.
Cruel, beautiful female.
I watched him beneath lowered brows. Reese rolled his eyes, sighing.
I was on the continent, at the Human Queen's palace.
I choked. You were where?
Technically, I was flying above it, but...
You went alone? He gaped at me.
Despite what our mistakes in Highburn might have suggested, I am capable of...
You went to the human world, to our enemy's compound, alone?
I'd rather it be me than any of the others.
That had been his problem from the start. Always him, always sacrificing. Why? I demanded. Why risk it? Is something happening? Reese peered toward the window, as if he could see all the way to the mortal lands. His mouth tightened.
It's the quiet on their side of the sea that bothers me. No whisper of armies gathered. No other human allies summoned. Since Highburn, we've heard nothing. So I thought to see for myself why that is.
He flicked my nose, tugging me closer again.
I just neared the edge of their territory when I felt the bond awaken again. I knew the others were closer, so I sent them.
Curly, look at what you just did. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. You don't need to explain. Reese rested his chin atop my head.
I wanted to be there to get you, find you, bring you home.
You do certainly enjoy a dramatic entrance. He chuckled, his breath warming my hair as I listened to the sound rumble through his body. Of course he would have been working against Highburn while I was away. Had I expected them all to be sitting on their asses for over a month? And Reese, constantly plotting, always a step ahead. He would have used this time to his advantage. I debated asking about it, but right now, breathing him in, feeling his warmth, let it wait. Reese pressed a kiss to my hair.
You're home.
I shuddered. A shuddering, small sound came out of me as I nodded, squeezing him tighter. Home. Not just Valaris, but wherever he was, our family was. ebony claws stroked along the barrier in my mind, in affection and request. Oh, is the, mind thing a sexy thing now, too? Also, thank you, music, for getting in the mood. I lowered my shields for him, just as his own dropped. His mind curled around mine, as surely as his body now held me.
I missed you every moment,
Ray said, leaning down to kiss the corner of my mouth.
your smile.
His lips grazed over the shell of my ear, and my back arched slightly.
Your laugh.
He pressed a kiss to my neck, right beneath my ear, and I tilted my head to give him access, biting down the urge to beg him to take more, to take faster, as he murmured,
Your scent.
"Ugh." My eyes flicked closed, and his hands coasted around my hips to cut my rear. Oh. Squeezing as he bent to kiss the center of my throat.
The sounds you make when I'm inside you?
Oh! Boy. His tongue flicked over the spot where he'd kissed. And one of those sounds indeed escaped me. Reese kissed the hollow of my collarbone, and my core went utterly molten.
A brave, bold, brilliant mate.
This is hot, but also it's extra hot because he's such a wife guy, and I love it. See, my partner loves me. And he sometimes says stuff like this. But our relationship is far more based on teasing. We just speak differently. I'd be like, I miss you when you're being dumb. I miss you when you're being dumb too. It's usually better than that. I'm just a little inebriated. He lifted his head, and it was an effort to open my eyes, to meet his stare as his hands roved in lazy lines down my back, over my rear, then up again. I keep saying rear because I don't know what other word you would use there. Not butt. You wouldn't say butt, but butt.
I love you,
he said again. And if I hadn't already believed him, felt it in my very bones, the light in his face as he said the words. Tears burned my eyes again, slipping free before I could control myself. Reese leaned in to lick them away. Stop licking tears! Don't do that! I hate that! Oh, it's almost as bad as nipple. The licking of other people's tears. Stop it! Why is it a thing? Yuck. It's so fucking gross. And it's such it's in all these fucking books. Every horny book has it. Even Twilight had it. They all have it. No, yes, Queen, we don't even kiss tears away. Lips to tears is gross. If the person is crying, you can wipe them away. You can give them a kiss. You can comfort them. But don't be like, oh, look at that eye juice. Gotta lick that up. Yum. Love it. Delicious, delicious eye juice. Give me them ocular drippings. Why don't you just drink a bottle of saline solution, you fuck? Ugh. I hate it. Okay, anyway. Some people love it. Apparently it's people think it's hot, so. Y'all can keep your eyes juice. You can all keep your lens gravy. Whatever you want to call it, you keep it. I don't want it. Your drops of the sea. Thank you. I agree it is not hot. Thank you. And yes, I am going to call tears ocular drippings from now on. Reese leaned in to lick them away, one after another, as he'd once done under the mountain. Gravy, where's the lens gravy?
You have a choice.
He murmured against my cheekbone. I don't love what he's about to say.
Either I lick every inch of you clean.
His hand grazed the tip of my breast, circling lazily. As if we had days and days to do this. Why not?
Or you can get into the bath that should be ready by now.
Yeah, go take a bath, girl. What, you wanna lick her like a cat? You gonna bathe her like a mama cat? She's fucking gross right now, man. I don't think you wanna do that. I pulled away, lifting a brow. Are you suggesting that I smell?
You do.
Reese smirked, and I could have sworn my core pounded an answer.
Never. But
his eyes darkened, the desire and amusement fading as he took in my clothes.
There is blood on you. Yours and others. I thought I'd be a good maid and offer you a bath before I ravish you wholly.
Reese, being the way that he is, probably thinks it's so hot she's got other people's blood on her. I think it would just make the fucking better for him. Freak. I huffed a laugh and brushed back his hair, savoring the silken sable strands between my fingers. So considerate, though I can't believe you kicked everyone out of the house so you could take me to bed.
One of the many benefits to being High Lord.
What a terrible abuse of power. That half smile danced on his mouth.
Well,
as much as I'd like to see you attempt to lick off a week's worth of dirt, sweat, and blood, his eyes gleamed with the challenge, and I laughed again. Normal bath, please.
disgusting.
Yeah, lick the dirt off me. Disgusting.
Yeah, you like the way Eris's blood tastes on your tongue?
Gross. He had the nerve to look vaguely disappointed. I poked him in the chest as I pushed away, aiming for the large bathing room attached to the bedroom. The massive porcelain tub was already filled with steaming water and... bubbles?
Do you have a moral objection to them?
I grinned, unbuttoning my jacket. My fingers were near black with dirt and caked blood. I cringed. I might need more than one bath to get clean. He snapped his fingers, and my skin was instantly pristine again. I blinked. if you can do that, then what's the point of the bath? He'd done it under the mountain for me a few times, that magical cleaning. I'd somehow never asked. He leaned against the doorway, of course he did, watching me peel off my torn and stained jacket as if it were the most important task he'd ever been given.
The essence of the dirt remains.
His voice roughened as he tracked each movement of my fingers while I unlaced my boots.
Like a layer of oil.
Indeed, my skin, while it looked clean, felt unwashed. I kicked off the boots, letting them land on my filthy jacket.
So it's more for aesthetic purposes. You're taking too long,
he said, jerking his chin toward the bath. My breasts tightened with a slight growl lacing his words. He watched that, too. And I smiled to myself, arching my back a bit more than necessary as I removed my shirt and tossed it to the marble floor. I've told y'all before, you've got to practice stripping when you take your clothes off every day if you want to get good at it. That's lesson number 1. Preferably in front of a mirror. Check yourself out. I promise you, no matter what you think, you're hot. Believe it, and you'll achieve it. What kind of weird fucking girl boss advice is that? Anyway. And I smiled to myself, arching my back a bit more than necessary as I removed my shirt and tossed it to the marble floor. Sunlight streamed in through the steam rising from the tub, casting the space between us in gold and white. Reese made a low noise that sounded vaguely like a whimper as he took in my bare torso. As he took in my breasts, now heavy and aching, badly enough that I had to swallow my plea to forget this bath entirely. But I pretended not to notice as I unbuttoned my pants and let them fall to the floor, along with my undergarments. Reese's eyes simmered. I smirked, daring a look at his own pants, at the evidence of what exactly this was doing to him, pressing against the black material with impressive demand. I simply crooned, "Too bad there isn't room in the tub for 2.
Design flaw, and one I shall remedy tomorrow.
His voice was rough, quiet, and it slid invisible hands down my breasts, between my legs. Guys, there's a fucking ambulance outside. And a fire truck. They're coming for me. It's getting too hot in here. It's okay. We're just reading a horny book. We're just reading a horny book. The room's not on fire. We're fine. Y'all can go back. You can leave. Leave me to the horny book. Thank you. They're coming to get me. Mother, save me. I somehow managed to walk, to climb into the tub. Somehow managed to remember how to bathe myself. Reese remained leaning against the doorway the entire time, silently watching with that unrelenting focus. I might have taken longer washing certain areas, and might have made sure he saw it. He only gripped the threshold hard enough that the wood groaned beneath his hand. But Reese made no move to pounce, even when I toweled off and brushed out my tangled hair, as if the restraint, it was part of the game too. Oh, boy's edging himself. This is tantric for him. But Reese made no move to pounce, My bare toes curled on the marble floor as I set down my brush on the sink vanity. Yeah, it's showing off them grippers. Yikes. Every inch of my body aware of where he stood in the doorway,
aware of his eyes upon me in the mirror's reflection.
"All clean," I declared, my voice hoarse as I met his stare in the mirror. I could have sworn only darkness and stars swirled beyond his shoulders. A blink and they were gone, but the predatory hunger on his face. I turned, my fingers trembling slightly as I clutched my towel around me. Reese only extended a hand, his own fingers shaking. Even the towel was abrasive against my too sensitive skin as I laid my hand on his calluses scraping as they closed over my fingers. I wanted them scraping all over me. Ugh, rough. Ugh. But he simply led me into the bedroom, step after step, the muscles of his broad back shifting beneath his jacket, and lower the sleek, powerful cut of... Sorry, I asked before what other word you would use for rear. And lower the sleek, powerful cut of thighs. His ass. I can't say ass elegantly. It always comes out sounding like ass. I was going to devour him. From head to toe. I was going to devour him. But Reese paused before the bed, releasing my hand and facing me from the safety of a step away. And it was the expression on his face as he traced a still tender spot on my cheekbone that checked the heat threatening to raise my senses. I swallowed, my hair dripping on the carpet. Is the bruise bad?
It's nearly gone.
Darkness flickered in the room once more. I scanned that perfect face, every line and angle, the fear and rage and love, the wisdom and cunning and strength. I let my towel drop to the carpet. Let him look me over as I put a hand on his chest, his heart raging beneath my palm. Ready for ravishing? My words didn't come out with the swagger I'd intended. Not when Reese's answering smile was a dark, cruel thing.
I hardly know where to begin. So many possibilities.
He lifted a finger and my breath came hard and fast as he idly circled one of my breasts then the other. In ever-tightening rings.
I could start here,
he murmured. I clenched my thighs together. He noted the movement, that dark smile growing. And just before his finger reached the tip of my breast, just before he gave me what I was about to beg for, his finger slid upward to my chest, my neck, my chin, right to my mouth. He traced the shape of my lips, a whisper of touch.
Or I could start here,
he breathed, slipping the tip of his finger into my mouth. I couldn't help myself from closing my lips around him, from flicking my tongue against the pad of his finger. That's one of those things where you read it and you're like, that's fucking weird. But then you realize it's like, no, people do that. That's a thing. Just like the tear thing. It's like you read it and you're like, that's gross and weird. But then you're like, no, that happens. That happens. It's like an in-the-moment kind of thing. But Reese withdrew his finger with a soft groan, making a downward path along my neck, chest, straight over my nipple. I'm not doing nipple! Not today! Not today! He paused there, flicking it once, then smoothed his thumb over the small hurt. It's always a small hurt. I was shaking now, barely able to keep standing as his finger continued past my breast. He drew patterns on my stomach, scanning my face as he purred. Or I couldn't think beyond that single finger, that one point of contact as it drifted lower and lower to where I wanted him. Or I managed to breathe. His head dipped, hair sliding over his brow as he watched. We both watched, his broad finger venture down. "Or I could start here," he said, the words guttural and raw. I didn't care. Not as he dragged that finger down the center of me. Not as he circled that spot, light and taunting. "Here would be nice," he observed, his breathing uneven. "Or maybe even here," he finished and plunged that finger inside me. Oh my. Oh my god. As usual, pause here for just 1 second to remind you that we are currently fundraising and you can donate if you like. It makes this all a lot easier for me to do and less awkward. So if you want to give me money for reading you a horny book, I won't say it because I don't want to get in trouble on Twitch, but this could be used by some people for nefarious purposes, I'm sure. So I would appreciate the cash. $25 or more, and I'll send you a picture that is also not necessarily something I'm allowed to show on Twitch, depending on your choice. So there's always that. I will sign it and everything. I wasn't planning on writing naughty notes, but if that gets me more money, I will do that. I've had too much rum. Anyway, it would be really like that. I would really like it if you did that for me, please, and thank you. And I will continue reading this very, very horny book. Thank you. I groaned, gripping his arm, nails digging into the muscles beneath. Muscles that shifted as he pumped his finger once, twice. Then slid it out and drawled, brows rising.
"Well, where shall I begin, favorite darling?"
I could barely form words, thoughts, but I'd had enough of playing, so I took that infernal hand of his, guiding it to my heart, and placed it there, half over the curve of my breast. I met his hooded gaze as I spoke the words that I knew would be his undoing in this little game, the words that were rising up in me with every breath. "You're mine." It snapped the tether he'd kept on himself. His clothes vanished. All of them. Just magicked away his fucking clothes. And his mouth angled over my own. It wasn't a gentle kiss. Wasn't soft or searching. It was a claiming, wild and unchecked. It was an unleashing. And the taste of him. See, that would have been somewhere that during the horny chapters, I would have taken a shot, because when they say taste of him, I always find that weird. The heat of him, the demanding stroke of his tongue against my own. See, it's the rubbing tongues and stuff. The description of it's gross. Home. I was home. My hands shot into his hair, pulling him closer, as I answered each of his searing kisses with my own, unable to get enough, unable to touch and feel enough of him. Skin to skin, Reese nudged me toward the bed, his hands kneading my rear as I ran my own over the velvet softness of him, over every hard plane and ripple. His beautiful, mighty wings tore from his back, splaying wide before neatly tucking in. We all have a weird wing thing now, don't we? I don't know, it's just... yeah. My thighs hit the bed behind us, and Reese paused, trembling, giving me time to reconsider, even now. My heart strained, but I pulled my mouth from his, held his gaze as I lowered myself onto the sheets and inched back, further and further onto the bed, until I was bare before him, until I took in the considerable, oh God, just saying it again, the considerable proud length of him. And my core tightened in answer. Oh no, you're allowed to say that. That's not bullying. Why would it think that it was bullying? Reese, I breathed his name, a plea on my tongue. No, please, don't. Do you hear what I'm reading? You don't have to censor yourself from saying anything at this point. Like, just don't say abusive things to me and we're fine. His wings flared, chest heaving as stars sparkled in his eyes. And it was the longing there, beneath the desire, beneath the need. It was the longing in those beautiful eyes that made me glance to the mountains tattooed on his knees. The insignia of his court, our court. The promise that he would kneel for no one and nothing but his crown. I bend the knee to no, I bow for no one! I bow to no one! I'm so drunk I can't even remember my own father's catchphrase. And me. Mine. He was mine. I sent the thought down the bond. I don't know why he likes that so much. No playing, no delaying. I wanted him on me, in me. I needed to feel him, hold him, share breath with him. He heard the edge of desperation, felt it through the mating bond flowing between us. Back. My partner came home at some point during this, and I don't know if he's still here, if he took the dog out, if he's listening to me do this. Like, probably. I don't know. Oh, I just heard music from the other room. Yes, he is still inside. He's watching the Twilight Zone in the other room. Much less horny than this. His eyes did not leave mine as he prowled over me, every movement graceful as a stalking plains cat. Second time she's mentioned plains cats recently. Is she also into lions? What's going on? Interlacing our fingers, his breathing uneven, Reese used a knee to nudge my legs apart and settle between them. Carefully, lovingly, he laid our joined hands beside my head as he guided himself into me and whispered in my ear, "You're mine too." At the first nudge of him, I surged forward to claim his mouth. I dragged my tongue over his teeth, swallowing his groan of pleasure as his hips rolled in gentle thrusts, and he pushed in and in and in. Home. This was home. And when Reese was seated to the hilt, when he paused to let me adjust to the fullness of him, I thought I might explode into moonlight and flame, thought I might die from the sheer force of what swept through me. My pants were edged with sobs as I dug my fingers into his back, and Reese withdrew slightly to study my face, to read what was there. "Never again," he promised as he pulled out, and thrust back in with excruciating slowness. He kissed my brow, my temple, "My darling Farah." Beyond words, I moved my hips, urging him deeper, harder. Reese obliged me. With every movement, every shared breath, every whispered endearment and moan, that mating bond I'd hidden so far inside myself grew brighter, clearer. There's the magic. Thank you. Oh my god. I'm out of water. So cookie was only option. And when it again shone as brightly as adamant, my release cascaded through me, leaving my skin glowing like a newborn star in its wake. At the sight of it, right as I dragged a finger down the sensitive inside of his wing, Reese shouted my name and found his pleasure. I held him through every heaving breath, held him as he at last stilled, lingering inside me, and relished the feel of his skin on mine. For long minutes we remained there, tangled together, listening to our breathing even out. Maas already know I don't count them, and I probably should put a counter up. It's a lot. Luckily I do smart pours. So, like I said before, unless somebody pays for the shot, like gives a $10 tip for the shot, they're like mini shots because I know it's gonna happen a lot and I don't want to kill myself. I gauge it. If there hasn't been one for a long time, I'll take a slightly bigger one, but there were a lot there, so. Listening to our breathing even out, the sound of it finer than any music. After a while, Reese lifted his chest enough to take my right hand, to examine the tattoos inked there. He kissed one of the whorls of near black blue ink. His throat bobbed. I missed you. Every second, every breath. Not just this, he said, shifting his hips for emphasis and dragging a groan from deep in my throat. Dude, are you still in there? But talking to you, laughing with you. I missed having you in my bed. I missed having you as my friend even more. Oh no. My wife is my best friend. Nobody tell Holden. Nobody tell him. If Lexi's got to this part yet, he can be so mad. I hope she points it out. I hope she tells him. Oh, we won't tell him. I want her to tell him. Maybe Jackie could tell him too. I want it to be a personal moment for him where he's like, what? Anyway. My eyes burned. I know, I managed to say, stroking a hand down his wings, his back. I know. I kissed his bare shoulder, right over a whorl of Illyrian tattoo. Never again, I promised him, and whispered it over and over as the sunlight drifted across the floor. Okay, guys, we got a horny chapter. I think it's good. I'm glad we stayed. I was gonna not do it. I was thinking of waiting. I'm glad we stayed. We got a horny chapter. We're done. We're done for the night. So I will see y'all again on the weekend. It was quite a good one too, yes. Twas. I will see y'all again on the weekend. Don't forget Saturday slumber parties. We are back to those regularly now. I think we're pretty much just gonna do movie wheel now, unless I come up with other activities, because I'm really liking the like double feature situation that we've done the last couple weeks. So great hang, very good. So glad you all could be here. But yeah, so Saturdays at 8 p.m. now. It's shifted to 8. We do Saturday slumber party where we do like double feature movie. We all hang out. It's all bad, all movie wheel, unless there's some other piece of stream safe media that we absolutely must view. And then we do. And then there will be Sunday for more book, where I think we're finally going to hear about what's going on with your sisters, which I'm excited about. So yeah, thank you all for coming out tonight. Okay, we should do a craft at a slumber party night. Yes, absolutely, we could do crafts. Yeah, no, like I said, if more people want to come out and do slumber party night, like it's really just the viewership at this point. I'm not prepared to do one day. Yes, one day we should. Yeah, if there are enough people at the slumber party night, we will do craft night. There's advanced prep required. I have to know that people are coming. I have to announce it, do it, make it a thing. So we will do it one night for sure. I love that concept. I love that Cat's Kitten Me. We will do it. I'm not ruling out this week. Let me sober up and think about it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I will see you all on the weekend, and I love you all very much. And I'll see you at various streams throughout the week. Y'all know where I am. I'm in chat. I'm on Discord. I'm around, so you can catch me. Just because I'm being like super pounding it home, really appealing a lot right now because I have a tendency to underpromote myself. You can donate anytime at the link. I've shared it on the various Discords that I know most, if not all of you are on. But the link that's there is just streamlabs.com/Dottie Champagne and dottiechampagne.ca. So you can get me anytime. Yep, Nightbot even knew I was talking about it and popped the link right up there for you. So there you go. You can do it anytime. On stream means I'll acknowledge it in the moment, but you can donate anytime, and I will greatly appreciate it. It'll move that bar a little bit further along, and it'll make me very happy, and I'll love you so much. I will also announce the following stream. Like I'm not a dick. Anyway, bye everybody. Bye. Love ya.